teams. Great run, haven't lost since April 23rd. But I heard no less of Basketball Authority this morning on TV saying greatest team ever. Michael Wilbon had to correct him.
Yeah.
That Basketball Authority being Fat Joe.
All right. Well, that makes a lot more sense now. It's, when you explain to me who's doing it.
Heat of the moment's one thing, but greatest team ever, playoff run.
Sure.
Yes,
yeah.
I will give them that. This is, and especially if they complete 4-0. And you go into opening night next year having not lost since April 23rd.
Oh, yeah.
That would be something that's at the front of the coffee table book. There's no doubt. The coffee table book's going to have Jalen Brunson's picture on it. A good debate is who is the MVP of the finals.
Yeah, I think the good debate is who should be. I don't think the good debate is who will be, because I think we all know who it will be, and you just said it, the guy who will be on the cover of the book. But I think it should be Cat. Cat's been fantastic this series. And, we'll see if he can keep that up. But through 2 games, I think he's been one of, if not the most important players on the Knicks team. But, yes, I think hottest team, maybe you could make an argument, hottest playoff team ever.
I'm with you.
But, great. I mean, because you can make the argument.
Run, yeah.
You can make the argument that the Spurs could be up 2-0 right now.
Sure could.
I mean, the Spurs gave up the big lead in game 1, and then had an opportunity to win it last night. Coming back from a double-digit deficit. So when you can make that argument, I would say this isn't the greatest team ever. But obviously, being New York, obviously being in the moment, Game 3 tonight, first time since '99 hosting. I mean, you're going to get those type of reactions.
And we are getting it, and we knew we would, and it's mostly been, I think, a lot of fun and good for the game. We talk about all those international games about growing the game. I think this is something that's really fun and growing the game and bringing good, fun interest to the game. Game 1's TV rating from last Wednesday night, I haven't found a Game 2 rating from Friday night, but Game 1's TV rating was the biggest they've had in a finals game going back a lot of years, 17 million, and it peaked at 19 million. Those are huge numbers. Do you know where they relate to college football?
Well, we talked about 16 million last week or the week before, and that was like 10. So I'll say that's like 7.
I don't know the particular game, but I do know a ratings for a game. Ole Miss in Georgia. Now remember the NBA Finals that's with New York, the biggest TV market in the country, and San Antonio, and I think San Antonio TV market's around 33, 34, something like that. But also Texas, also a big brand in the Spurs. But the Knicks, the New York Knicks, against Oxford in Athens. Now, I know people are going, well, but Athens is Atlanta. Okay, I'll go there with you. College football, and that game was on a Friday night. 19 million peaked at 21.
Wow.
Sugar Bowl beat Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
Wow. Well, hey, we always say it. That shows you why it's the second biggest sport in the country. I mean,
well, it is.
Yeah,
and Brian, do you think if I did kind of the reporter on the street and you just went up to people, if I right now you could get me outside the fence barricade around the garden and went up to people, hey, Ole Miss in Georgia in the Sugar Bowl's TV rating was bigger than the Knicks Spurs Game 1, how do you think that would go over?
Probably not very well.
1% may believe me, or do you think I could crack into 1?
I think you could get 1%.
You think I could? I could crack into 1.
Some people that will be like, yeah, no, for sure. But there will be a lot that will say no.
Most would scoff at that.
Absolutely.
If I were a reporter on the street and I stood outside FedEx Forum right now and just walked around and threw that out there, how many people you think would greet that as, yeah, that sounds true?
I think a lot more people would here than certainly in New York. Yeah.
All the way up to what? 10%?
No, I'd say it's probably more than that. I mean, New York, they're so in the moment right now. They aren't thinking anything else. I think, this being the college football hotbed that it is, I think there'd be a lot of people that would go, yeah, no, you're definitely, that game would get a bigger number.
But that's where college football, that's where it is and how big it is. But you read all those stories about game one, record attendance,
Sure.
blockbuster attendance, compared to what else in sports.
Sure.
And nobody ever does that second half.
No, definitely not.
Just face value. Oh, it's the biggest thing going.
Yeah.
NBA association's hottest thing going.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. And tonight is going to be just like that again, because we know everything that's going into it. The pictures are already coming out. I'm waiting for video and pictures of people getting lined up and going through the screening. The Knicks put out a statement on, I believe it was Saturday when they put it out, kind of warning everybody to be prepared. They compared the security measures going into Madison Square Garden tonight, like TSA at the airport. They said to show up about 2.5 hours early to make sure you're able to get in before the game starts, because this is going to be so in detailed of a security to get in. No bags allowed. You have to just bring whatever I guess you can fit into your pockets. But they're advising people, all you need is your cell phone, your wallet, your keys. Other than that, get rid of them. And up in New York, half the people, 60% of the people don't even have keys. So all you need is your phone and your wallet. Half the people don't even have their wallet because you have all your cards on your phone now. So you really just need your phone to get into the game. And I can't wait to see the pictures and videos from the mess of trying to get into Madison Square Garden.
Do you have it set up on your phone, like if you were pulled over for a speeding ticket, to show your driver's license on your phone?
No, I don't know if Tennessee allows that yet. They might, and I just don't have it. I have not set that up.
I don't, and wouldn't begin to know how.
Yeah, I have my debit card on my phone, but I don't have any.
You do?
Any ID or anything now. But yeah, I have my debit card on. I actually had to use it today because I left my wallet in the car, and I was at a restaurant and had to use my phone. I use it at the gym. Really, the only place I use it is at the gym. I don't want to bring all my stuff in, and so I'll just go up to the vending machine to get a water, and I'll use my phone to tap.
It was announced the president will not be sitting courtside. Right. Will be in a suite.
Yeah, I thought that makes the most sense.
Sure does.
You get a suite, you can put that bulletproof glass and everything up, and he can enjoy the game from there. No need to mess. Like you said, imagine New York City and how crazy it is of everyone getting a ticket, the way the tickets are being sold for, the prices, and then say, yeah, Trump's going to sit right here, and nobody's allowed to sit this many seats this way, this many seats that way, and this many seats back. We're going to have all of that blocked off for security. There was no way that could happen. So box them up and let them enjoy the game. That'll be fun.
And that's amazing because we and because of a lot of things, we've come a long way. There are those pictures out there of President Kennedy at an Orange Bowl between Alabama and Texas, just sitting out in the stands like he had access to a really good ticket. I told you the story, and people can Google it and see it. The president and the vice president just hardly ever go anywhere together for a lot of reasons, especially since 1963 and other things. But there's a picture of President Nixon with his vice president, Spiro Agnew, sitting out in the stands at the L.A. Coliseum at a Rams preseason game.
It's crazy.
At a Rams preseason game.
It's crazy.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy.
And how the president used to throw out first pitches at games. They wouldn't go all the way out to the mound. They would be from a box near the on-deck circle and throw it from there. And that suffices the first pitch, famously. Richard Nixon in the stands at Fayetteville for the big shootout. I've told the story about President Clinton at the regional finals in Dallas at Reunion. It was a really good seat, but it was in the stands. It was, and no bulletproof glass, no nothing. Now it was guys around him that you weren't going to get out of line with. But tonight, I sure hope nothing happens. Yeah. And it's why the most thankless job in the New York Knicks organization for the last 2 weeks in preparation for this and tonight, the guy in charge of game ops.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Because the chance of Jim Dolan tomorrow reaching out to him or her and saying, hey, great job last night. Everything went flawless.
Yeah, no chance.
Is a less percent of people believing
That's right.
college football ranks above the NBA game one.
That's exactly right.
if anything goes wrong, that person's on speed dial all night tonight.
No doubt.
Just getting ripped a new one.
No doubt. So, yeah, hopefully it goes off without a hitch. Hopefully, it is an enjoyable experience for everybody involved, and hopefully it's another fun game. The first two games have been a blast, and we'll see what ultimately happens tonight in
Have you seen Jeremy Lin making the rounds?
I have seen Jeremy Lin. He was just on the TV.
Noted New York
today.
Knick legend.
That's
for
right.
about,
yes.
6 weeks?
That's right. I actually, and I was telling Connor this, there is a house at the corner going to one of the bigger streets out of our neighborhood, and I was driving, like it was either last week or the week before, saw a guy outside cutting his grass in a Jeremy Lin jersey, and I was like, that guy gets it right there.
That guy gets it. That guy, what number, 17? Was that Jeremy, was that Lin Sanity?
Was it 17? That was so long ago, I can't even remember what.
I looked it up today, and I've already told you. And I thought it was more than this. Total Knick games played by Jeremy Lin in his career, total games, 35.
It's crazy. Yeah, jersey number 17 for New York. So.
Lin Sanity took over sports for 6 weeks.
Sure did.
Only in New York could that have happened.
Exactly. I mean, it's how big New York is.
And only in New York could Fat Joe be deluded to think this is one of the greatest teams ever.
That is also true. But it's fun hearing everybody and their how high they are on this Knicks team, and hopefully that fun continues tonight. We'll talk a lot more about what happened on Friday with Game 2, and we'll preview Game 3 later tonight. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, we'll talk the NBA playoffs. We'll go back to Game 2 Friday night, discuss everything that happened in that game. We'll talk more about Game 3 tonight as we got the countdown on ESPN, 4 hours, 13 minutes, and 25 seconds until tip-off between the Knicks and the Spurs for Game 3. 3:45, we'll talk the College World Series as the field for Omaha is officially set, and it almost feels like Hoover moved up to Omaha. A lot of SEC teams making it to the College World Series. So we'll discuss that, including the Ole Miss Rebels. So we'll have all of those games in Omaha for the Ole Miss Rebels right here on Sports 56 later this week and into the weekend. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports. He'll join us, talk college football and college basketball. A lot of the conversation will be on this Brendan Sorsby news that came out earlier this morning, but we'll talk other things around college football and college basketball with David Cobb. Maybe get into a little draft with him as we're only 2 weeks away from the NBA draft. 4:30, Michael Katz from the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal. He'll join us to talk the Rebels as, again, they have made it to Omaha. We'll talk about the season as a whole, what they've done so far in the playoffs, and what to expect from them in Omaha. We'll do that at 4:30. 4:45, big number of the day. 5 o'clock to Michael Cole. He'll join us. We'll talk a lot of Grizzlies with him as there's a lot of news out there for the Memphis Grizzlies, who they could possibly be taking in the NBA draft, and one NBA reporter reporting that the Grizzlies looking to move a draft pick, but it's not the one that's been rumored to be moved for the last couple of weeks, eyeing pick 16 to maybe move up for a second top 10 pick. We'll talk more about that later in the show and with DeMichael Cole. 5:30, we'll talk about what's trending. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Moe's Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Summer, it's right around the corner. It's time to get those backyards ready for the ultimate pool party. Above ground pools starting at $39.99 installed, with in-ground pools starting at just $49.99. All in-stock patio furniture is priced to move, with 5-piece patio furniture sets starting at $999. Outdoor sectionals are starting at $12.99 and receive a free umbrella and base with select patio furniture sets. Don't forget about the hot tubs and the swim spas. Hot tubs starting at $34.99 with swim spas starting at $16.99. Special financing is available, and if you head out there and mention this ad, get $200 off any pool or spa purchase. Head out there to Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
We are Sports Time with Connor Dacus producing. We're live and local from our Family Leisure Studios, and we want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling at 901-360-8255. That's Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. Hit us up right there. All our guests would join us at 901-360-8255. Bryant Dacus and Brett Norsworthy with you in this hour every day, brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2026 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. You can call Lexus of Memphis at 901-334-9673, but they invite you to stop by the only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway, and that's where you can put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2026 flagship LS500, and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the safe luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it is the NBA Finals Game 2 on Friday, and the Knicks again win another one on the road. Now, this one was different. They had the lead in the fourth quarter, and it was the Spurs that made the comeback and made it a game down the stretch, tied game with less than 30 seconds remaining. They get the turnover, they get the ball, and then a turnover to give the ball right back to the Knicks, and then they immediately foul Jalen Brunson in the chaos of the turnover. He goes to the line, makes the free throws, and then, made one free throw, split the free throws, so the San Antonio still had an opportunity after their timeout and advancing the ball to win the game, but Wemby's shot is short, and the Knicks up 2-0 with back-to-back road games, and now you just know that it's going to be a madhouse tonight at Madison Square Garden. Up 2-0, you know that fan base is going to bring the energy to try to give them the fans an opportunity to have a closeout game in Game 4. But again, the story of Game 2 was Karl Anthony Towns, another big-time performance for him on both ends of the court. What he did offensively, what he did defensively, making it tough for Victor Wembanyama and really anybody he was matched up against to get really much going throughout the game. But you do have to give credit to that Spurs team to come back, tie the game. Just unfortunately, they couldn't finish. They have looked young after not looking young at all in the Western Conference Finals. They look young in the NBA Finals. It felt like at some point that youth was going to play a factor. It feels like it's playing a factor here in the NBA Finals.
You know, the Red Sox only had to wait 86 years.
That's right.
And the Cubs waited 108 years. 53 is nothing compared to that, is it?
Man, I mean, that's a short walk for those other teams.
But that's my top story. It's right there, all in front of the Knicks. 2 down, 2 to go for that long-awaited title. All the heartbreak, all the good teams, all the bad teams. And tonight, you win tonight, and it should be a matter of when, not if. Get the planning started, get the security ready. And if they go up 3-0 and blow that, that's nothing. The Yankees' collapse to Boston would be nothing. It would be an albatross around the Knicks for the rest of the time. It may be unrecoverable. Yeah. I don't want that to happen to them. I want them to win the series up 2-0. Heck, let's go ahead and get the brooms out and go for the sweep. 2-0 should be too much for San Antonio to overcome, especially with a young San Antonio team that has looked really young in the last 3 minutes of both games 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day is this Brendan Sorsby news that came out earlier this morning. He was granted his injunction and as of right now will be eligible to play in 2026 after serving a 2-game suspension to start the season. Obviously, the NCAA is going to appeal this and we'll see what ultimately happens here. But if this stands, Brendan Sorsby will be playing for Texas Tech this upcoming season. The only 2 games he'll miss will be a home game against Abilene Christian and a road game against Oregon State. Would be back on the field for the first conference game at home against Houston. I just don't see any way that this still stands. I mean, you know, we saw the same thing with Alabama and Charles Bediako, where he got the injunction and was out there and played a couple games before they ultimately appealed it, and he was off the court. I don't see a way that he should be on the field playing for Texas Tech this season, but ultimately we are officially in a weird world of college sports, and we'll see what ultimately happens with this case.
Right, let me clarify with you. As best you know, Sorsby has not been accused of betting against his team. Right? Is that right?
I don't believe so. I believe everything that's been reported.
But a lot of action on games that he had a lot of proprietary information, and it just forever in sports, that's been the classic no. That's my not top story as well. we're a really long way in a really short amount of time from the Trinidad Chambliss documented injury case. I know a lot of people are wanting to compare the two, and if you are, you have a real problem with reading comprehension and analysis, because there's not anywhere close to the same case. Not close. I know under the big umbrella of everything's wrong in college sports, you can find some solace in that, but it's not even close. This is a guy that we know the forbidden fruit. We know you don't do this. Has this news reached Coach Nick Saban yet? I wonder if he'll change his sermonette about Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss, because the news never got to him about Owen Heineke. You familiar with Owen Heineke, Brian? You are. Linebacker at Oklahoma, who is getting extra time to play just like Trinidad Chambliss did. Even more time than Trinidad Chambliss got. So maybe Nick Saban will use this as his cause celeb. But for Brendan Sorsby, you can criticize Texas Tech, you can criticize the friendly judge, you can get on a lot of different things. But what Sorsby did was really smart. He went to rehab. He went to a mental health place for 35 days, inpatient stay. It's an anxiety disorder. It's mental health. You call it, if you go to rehab and you call it mental health, that means everybody back off.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point, because you're right. I think if you're trying to compare cases, this is the one to compare it to would be Charles Bediako. Again, you are looking at rules that are in the rule book. If you can do this, you cannot do that. And in both these cases, those players went against the rules and were trying to come back. I don't think, obviously, what happened with Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss, I think it was a very unique situation, a very weird situation, but it wasn't something that was in the rule books. If you can't do this, and then those players or Trinidad Chambliss went and said, well, I'm going to come back anyway and get my injunction in place. Very, very different, I think.
And the bill in front of Congress right now that Nick Saban and the President Trump, are both big advocates of, Trinidad Chambliss wouldn't even have to appeal his case. It'd be automatic that he would be eligible. So if you want to compare the two, go ahead, have your fun, but they're not close to the same thing. Now, unlike the Alabama State basketball story, there's no doubt they threw the game.
Right.
Is that right?
That's correct.
They were favored 5.5.
No, they weren't favored. They were underdogs. They were, I think,
underdog 5.5.
I think it opened as like a 2.5 and jumped to 4 or 5.5, and they lost by more than what they were supposed to lose by.
You could kinda okay. They were 17-point favorite, and they just kind of got in at a cozy and won by 6 or 7. But they were underdog by 5.5. The opposing team, who was it?
Southern Miss,
5.5, 6-point favorite. They made sure to throw the game and to lose by more than that. So far for Sorsby, that hadn't been alleged.
No.
If that pops up, if that comes out, then I don't see how Texas Tech administration as a school could go out there and defend that.
No, there's definitely no way if it comes to that point. And we'll talk more about it, but now at least some reports coming out that other teams in the Big 12 having quote-unquote serious conversations
won't play
about not playing Texas Tech. So
they're even trying to get some of the non-conference places that get a big check to play them to not play, because then they wouldn't qualify with a certain you have to play a certain number of regular season games to qualify for the college football playoffs. None of that's going to happen. That's all posturing today. Everybody in the Big 12 is going to play.
And if I was one of those small schools, I'd be answering those phone calls saying, if you pay me that check, then I won't play them. But if you don't, then I'm playing them. I need that money.
And then that's when Cody Campbell says, I'll double it, and they show up Lubbock and get beat 65-0.
That's exactly right. So that money is important to those small teams. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's get to our first break. When we return, talk more about the NBA playoffs. We'll go back to Game 2 from Friday night, talk more about Game 3 tonight. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We talk all the time about what a fantastic neighborhood bar Bell Tavern is, but don't just take our word for it. Go to Yelp and see all the great things other people have said about Bell Tavern. Person after person talks about the cool atmosphere in Bell Tavern. They rhapsodize about how friendly they thought the staff was. They go on and on about what an amazing find Bell Tavern is. Tucked in Barbaro Alley, downtown. People from all over the country pat themselves on the back for discovering Bell Tavern. You can pat yourself on the back for finding Bell Tavern, too. Go ahead. Feel smug.
Jane Dawson did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With the money she saved, she got herself a pricey bird feeder with an ultra-high-def camera. Should Jane have just bought a regular bird feeder? Yes. Is it hard for her to admire nature when the camera doubles as the bird's potty? Also, yes. But it's Jane's savings, and if she wants to spend her time watching the digestive habits of the white-breasted nuthatch, we say you go, girl. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Fiveash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Fiveash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting to build with more volume. Right, you pretty much would expect around that 101 connector over there. At times it can slow down on 40 East, or become heavy rather, here on 40 East, trying to get past Watkins, headed towards Warford and Hollywood. It's busy to the south now with that steady flow of traffic picking up quite a bit. 55 pushing on down into DeSoto County. Hey, bridal season, it's here. Shop local this week at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Back in Sports Time, Bryant and Brett with you, and we got to talk more about the NBA Finals. Game 3 later tonight at Madison Square Garden, but Friday night it was Game 2 down in San Antonio, and it was a 105-104 win for the Knicks. A really fun game. Started with the Knicks getting the Spurs getting an early lead and playing really well after shooting the ball, really struggling to knock down shots in Game 1. They were locked in the first quarter, had the lead. Then in the second quarter, third quarter, Knicks started to take control before the Spurs came back in that fourth quarter, went on a massive run to tie the game. Ultimately, we mentioned it earlier, the Victor Wembanyama turnover and then the foul on Jalen Brunson sends him to the line. He splits his free throws. Spurs an opportunity to win the game. Wemby is short on his shot. And the Knicks now up 2-0, just like that.
Yeah, had a decent look on that last shot. Wasn't great, a little off balance, pretty good defense. But the whole control Wembanyama and you win the series, he had 29 points Friday night. Yeah,
I think, you look at the way that they're playing him, I think they're doing a really nice job against him. It's just, when you're Victor Wembanyama, you're gonna kind of, you're gonna get your points, but I think the way that the Knicks have been making them work, it's a lot like what the Thunder did in the last series, where they're just making it really hard for him to get in a rhythm. Was a lot more efficient last night, 52.4% from the field. Still struggling to shoot the three ball. I think is settling way too much on those 3-point shots, and just throughout the night was just looked tired at times. Was kind of stuck out on the wing at times.
Looked young at times. Knicks?
He sure did. I mean, it was all the above. I think the Knicks have done a really nice job, not only against him, but also against everyone else, because you can let Victor Wembanyama go out there and get 29 points if you're limiting everybody else, and they're doing a really nice job doing that.
I'm for the Knicks. I picked the Knicks, but this turned around the Spurs in that last series. Brian, in 2035-36, the Spurs are going to look back and say, boy, in 2026, we learned so much by losing to the Knicks, falling down 2-0, maybe even being swept. They're going to learn so much from it. That turned them around the last time I said that in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, no, you're right. And so maybe it works tonight. I don't know. But they gotta play a lot better. I thought they did some really nice things in game 2 and looked better in some aspects from game 1. But they just gotta do a better job. But
it's the next year.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say you gotta give the Knicks a lot of credit. They made a lot of tough shots, and especially in that second half, in that third quarter, they were just knocking down shots, and things looked very similar, but it was just the Knicks were making more shots. So you got to give them a lot of credit. But the Spurs have some things they need to some questions they need to answer going into tonight's game.
You were right in our opening segment that Jalen Brunson is going to be the MVP if the Knicks win, and I do think that modern sports gets these MVP votes more right than they used to, with too many on losing teams and in losing players in bowl games and losing players in a Super Bowl. And even when they get to the winning player, they want that star power out there. Yeah. And I think he deserved it. I'm glad he won it, especially with the local angle. But the Seahawks kicker should have been MVP of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do that.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a lot after the
I don't know how much they really want to give it to a running back even.
No. But, you look around and just not much happening out there in that game. So you got to give it to somebody. And
somebody's got to get it.
Yeah, you give it to
you don't want to be to the losing team. And I don't know anybody on the losing team that would have been close to making a case. Jerry West, famously the only one in NBA history to be MVP of a finals on a losing team, and he shouldn't have been that year.
No, and so it's a lot of we know now they're never going to give it to a player on the losing team. It feels like, but it usually is that big name, that star. And I'm trying to find, I can't seem to find odds on the MVP right now. I was trying to see where it's set, but it looks like they might have pulled those down.
Karl-Anthony Towns, 21 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists Friday night. That's a mega stat line with what he's having to defend.
Yeah.
The now and next big thing.
No, he's been the best player. I mean, he's been terrific, and I don't necessarily like Karl-Anthony Towns. And it's hard. You can't even say anything bad about him because he's been fantastic. So yeah, I mean, I think if that holds, then I think he should be it. I don't think he will be it. I think it will be Jalen Brunson, who's been really, really good and has hit some really clutch shots in both Game 1 and Game 2. So I don't think there's really a wrong answer. But if I had a ballot and it kind of continues to trend like it's trending right now, my vote would be for Karl-Anthony Towns.
Brian, I want to be really careful what I'm getting ready to say because we've heard so much about the pricing around this series, especially these ticket prices tonight. And I see people out there going, this is just wrong. Well, I don't know if wrong's the word. It's outrageous, but it's look, there's a limited number of tickets. There's about 20,000. There's a big number of people wanting them. It's classic supply and demand. There's very few of something that a lot of people want. And we heard about the Knicks fans that went to San Antonio. I want to be really careful because I don't know what those people do for a living, but did that look like hedge funders to you?
I didn't get a real good look at all of them. I could hear them, but I didn't get a look at many of them, so I can't really say.
I just don't think Wall Street person is there in all their Knick gear and all the cheering like that. I just don't know if that's the case. I don't know what those people do for a living. They may have a great savings nest egg. I don't know, but everybody's talking about, only the gilded can go tonight. I don't know how you can decide that. I don't know who's there, who isn't there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think you can look at the prices and assume that most normal working people can't really afford to spend that much money on a game. And I mean, we talked about it last week. You look at the difference in those prices where the Spurs games were it was about $600-700 to get in, and then on the other side it was like $2,000 to get into the game in Madison Square Garden.
Who can afford that?
Yeah, I guess if you're saying this is my one shot, then hey, I can buy a cheap ticket to fly to San Antonio. I'll pay the $700 to just get in. It's certainly way more cheaper than staying at home and going to MSG. But also, we talk about it, there are a lot of Knicks fans all over the place. And so,
that's right.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of those Knicks fans or a good portion of those Knicks fans aren't people that necessarily live in New York. They're people that live in Dallas, or they live in Oklahoma, or they live in other parts of Texas, or, Tennessee or somewhere. And they just drove to San Antonio and said, hey, we're just going to go to the game and we'll make the long trip there, but we want to go see our Knicks in action. So
I hope tonight, anytime in any sport, nobody's doing anything that in a few years that you will regret, and it hurts something else in your life. But if you do, you got to pay that price. And if you want to spend that and you have it, then okay. I just see a lot of judgmental comments about, this is wrong, this is crazy, we got to be better than this. It's the market on display. I'm not comfortable with it, but I don't know that it's wrong.
No, I don't want to judge anybody ever, and I certainly, like you said, if the market is there, if people are paying for it, then I can't judge the people selling it. I do kind of judge somebody if you're going to pay that much money to go to a basketball game. I don't know. I just I kind of look at you funny. It's a lot of money to be going to a game. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't pay that. Even if I had it, I wouldn't pay that much money.
Yeah, and we see it with, and I mentioned it last week already, these prices for Texas home football games next year. You can go to any of the ticket sites and pop up those games, and it's starting at $900,000 to go to a September football game.
Yeah, it's just wild.
I think that's pretty wild.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And so, but we know it's going to be packed tonight, and we'll see what happens. The defense has been great this series, especially in Game 2. I thought both teams really got after it on the defensive end, and we'll see if that continues tonight. Because you saw early the Spurs really giving the Knicks trouble defensively. I thought they did a really nice job figuring it out, and you saw a lot of that, the age and the experience from the Knicks, I thought, shine, whereas the Spurs got into trouble there in the second half. Knicks really did a nice job defensively. So, first two games, I think you can say a lot of defense. I wonder if that carries over into MSG.
What's the central common denominator reason from being down 2-1 to Atlanta to this? How did they do this?
It's a good question.
Shot the eyes out of it.
They have. They've shot the ball really well. I think you could argue that the two teams they saw after Atlanta weren't very good, and the Spurs have been, really, really tested and have played much harder.
Confidence is a superpower.
Sure, and just the fact that, hey, the Spurs are going to war with Oklahoma City, and you're playing the Cavs. Like, it's kind of it's a lot easier. You got all the rest. So, no, it's been super impressive because we were having real conversations of.
So it was the junior varsity.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely was. It definitely was. Yeah, the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals, they didn't even compete against each other. One was way better than the other. But no, we were having those real conversations about the Knicks could possibly be eliminated in the first round, and now here they are, just needing 2 more wins to win the NBA Finals. It has really, really been fun to watch, and we'll see if that continues tonight again. The Knicks, a 1.5-point favorite.
Who are you for?
For the Spurs. Nothing's changed. Going to be for the Spurs if they're down 3-0. I want the Spurs to win this.
With one little old win against this big headwind, WIN and WIND, we'll start looking at this different. If the Spurs could claw out tonight, this will start feeling real different real fast.
Yeah, I hope so. If
it's 3-0, then it's...
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know how confident I feel even if the Spurs win tonight, because I just don't know if they can win back-to-back on the road. But, if they win tonight, it's certainly a step in the right direction. But I do think if the Knicks win, I think it's great for the NBA. I think the storylines around not only the Knicks winning the finals, but this Spurs team and how young they are and how psychotic Victor Wembanyama is, him getting to the NBA finals and then losing, and kind of the whole offseason to just sit with that on your mind and what happens going into next year. So the storylines would be great if the Knicks win.
He'll be great from it. I won't say he'll be better from it. He's going to be fine with or without it. He would have been fine with a 4-0 Spurs sweep. He's going to be just fine over the next 10, 12, 15 years, and a lot of fun to watch. I was joking when I said it, but 53 is not close to 86 and 108, but they are canonizing it, aren't they? I mean, they've got the coffee table books written of greatest. And
definitely.
The drought. That 53 is not close to the drought that Cleveland baseball has from 1948.
No, it's not. Hey, I think they
Don't
should all
let
have
a few facts get in the way.
a coffee table book. I mean, why are we trying to set the bar for a coffee table book? I mean,
That's
go
right.
out there and have your coffee table book.
Man, they are mythologizing this before it's completed.
They definitely are. Which is good. It's made it fun. It's made it
Brunson, the
it's made it
greatest Nick
entertaining.
ever, the greatest team ever. In the drought.
Yeah.
The drought's 2 days old compared to the Cubs.
It definitely is. But hey, it is certainly giving it another element for this series. Last thing on the game from Friday, the timeout, no timeout on that last possession for the Spurs. Are you seeing much of that controversy?
Yeah, and we always get it.
Of course.
And if he had, it would have been wrong. If he does, it's no win in that.
Yeah, I mean, I think where I stand on it is this team they were on a 14-0 run, and then the Knicks, made a couple of shots. They were extremely hot. All the momentum was on their side. Why in the world, when you have a steal, you have transition, why in the world would you call a timeout? I mean,
why would you stop that flow? And what game are we on for the Spurs? About game 100 for the year?
That's right, yeah.
What are you going to stop and say?
Exactly. So I didn't really understand the people saying that there should have been a timeout called.
Did you see John Calipari in the house in San Antonio?
No, I missed it.
Well, Worldwide West set him up.
True.
He's not paying 1 cent
true.
for a ticket.
He'll
be there
seat.
tonight.
Where
was
he? Where was he sitting?
I saw him with John Starks and Patrick Ewing, and
I saw Ewing and Starks.
Looked like big game Robert Horry with him.
Interesting. Yeah, I missed him.
And I got to clarify. Tonight's the night the Cardinal player reached out to the agent. They're already in New York.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
And that's when he reached out to his agent.
That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, if it was game 4, that
because I saw Weatherholt and McGreevy on one of the morning baseball shows on MLB Network. And they said there's no way they can afford to go.
No, definitely not. Okay, well, that makes a lot more sense that it's tonight and not game 4. But it should be a lot of fun later tonight. But let's go ahead, get to another break. And when we return, the College World Series Omaha field is officially set after we had to finish a pair of games earlier today. We'll talk about the field and what to expect this weekend in Omaha. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Nothing symbolizes your love like a natural diamond, and nothing compares to the real diamonds you'll find at Sissy's Log Cabin. Here, you'll only find brilliant natural diamonds that have been here long before your I do, and that will become more treasured with time, just like your love. Explore our expansive selection and enjoy unmatched quality and service at your nearest Sissy's Log Cabin or at sissyslogcabin.com. Find a real natural diamond worthy of your story only at Sissy's.
If you're thinking of selling your home, think of me, Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf, because I've got the tools. No, I can't fix anything around the house. Heck, I never even finished my shoe shine kit in high school shop. And if you play golf with me, you'll see why I'm known as the worst golfer in town. And they call me Mr. Three-Putt or Sheldon the Shank. But I have all the tools to get your home sold. I have a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and when. and I'm part of a nationwide relocation network that provides many more transferred buyers coming into our market. Always interview 2 to 3 brokers. Make sure you include me, the bald, bad golfer who people say when you want the job done, call Shell Dunn. Reach me at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That's right, my website says it all. memphisrelocate.com, or anytime call me at 483-0546.
Kohl's Father's Day gifts are so good, Dad won't be able to stop bragging about them. To his friends, to his barber, to the server who did not ask. He'll even brag to you, the person who literally bought it for him. From comfy polos and stylish shoes to his favorite cologne and cool tech, get gifts Dad'll be talking about for months at Kohl's and Kohl's.com. You've been warned. Select styles. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Your home is your best investment, so why not make it the best it can be with help from Gates Lumber? Start with your front door, serving 2 purposes, curb appeal and security. Gates has solid construction doors built for security, durability, and beauty. See and compare wood, steel, and fiberglass options side by side at Gates Showroom. It's easier to choose when you can see and touch real doors with real assistance from knowledgeable staff helping you choose the right door for your home and budget. So don't just replace your door, upgrade your protection, and Gates Lumber is the right choice. Family owned and operated, serving you for over 100 years with free estimates, free delivery, competitive prices, and quality products. Call 901-942-3201, go to gateslumber.com, or come by their showroom, 1253 South Bellevue Boulevard. Gates Lumber, celebrating over 100 years with a passion for craftsmanship since 1920.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Well, the Omaha field is set after a weekend of super regional action. We had very few game 3s this weekend and no games today. We had to finish a pair of games that got in rain delays last night. They couldn't finish them last night, so wrapped up today. It was Alabama St. John's. Alabama won that game at 7-2, and then Kansas Oklahoma with a 13-2 win over the Jayhawks. So the field is set. We'll get the action started on Friday with a pair of games. Troy, West Virginia at 1 o'clock. Ole Miss, North Carolina at 6 o'clock, both those games on ESPN, and then we'll get the other 2 games on Saturday. Oklahoma, Alabama, those 2 teams that won today, and then Texas, Georgia at 7 o'clock on Saturday. So Saturday, the entire Saturday is SEC teams, and then you've got Ole Miss on Friday. So a ton of SEC making its way to Omaha, and I'm sure Rocco was, I don't know if it was Rocco himself, but somebody at Rocco's was updating the whiteboard all weekend as teams punched their tickets to Omaha. I'm sure it's going to be a blast with all the SEC flavor up there.
Good luck, Troy, at Rocco's.
Yeah, no kidding.
West Virginia will come in loud and proud.
I think they'll run away with it. I bet McAfee will probably be there in Omaha. He'll probably buy the entire bar out of Jell-O shots. And
great concept. Love how they've done it. I think it has to be consumed to count.
I think so too.
Just whoever rolls in there with the biggest, baddest Black American Express card, and whoever, just big time booster. Put 100,000 on this. No, they must be consumed. And then you're going to need EMT standing there.
That's right. Yeah, no, I mean, there's not a bigger power move in all of power moves than dropping that big old heavy Amex card on the bar, but
with a big cigar.
That's right. I'm with you though. I think it needs to be consumed.
I'm a big time college booster guy.
But I say all this about
that's about as dumb as what they're paying for the net. That's dumber because at least you get entertained tonight by watching a ball game instead of unconsumed Jell-O shots.
Well, that's true. But I say all this. I also would like to be Rocco's, and my entire business model revolves around 2 weeks at Omaha. You know, I mean, just like, hey, I come down, and I mean, it's really like Groundhog's Day. Honestly, I mean, Rocco's comes out of its hole, and we all pay attention to it for 2 weeks, and then we never think about it again.
And then goes away.
Exactly, and then next year it'll be right back.
Oh, right. Kind of like us in the Stanley Cup.
That's right. Yeah, we talk hockey, which hockey's been fantastic. We talk hockey for a day, and then
we make picks in October.
Right.
Not another reference until
we get to the playoffs.
Do playoff picks, and then we're hockey experts, and you're the true expert.
That's right. I'm there, and hopefully the Knights can win it. Except after what I saw in last game, I'm not counting that as a win for the Golden Knights. I mean, you can't be up 4-0 in the third period and then be forced to overtime.
Well,
I mean, you got to close that down. I mean, well, yeah, they can count it all they want.
They're counting it as up
in my
2-1.
personal record book, no chance that one counts. You're going to have to win 3 more, I guess, at this point.
2 weeks ago today was the bracket reveal for the college baseball tournament.
Mm-hmm.
We were off that day. That was Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
We were back tomorrow. So 2 weeks ago tomorrow, I made this comment. I said, every year for the rest of our lives, Ole Miss, wherever they are in the bracket, is going to say, remember 2022.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I said that, and that was really about all that. That was only the only real hope I had for Ole Miss. I mean, they went out in about as ugly style by 1:45 in the afternoon on the first Tuesday at Hoover as you can go out. So I wanted to compare. In 2022, they went 3-0 down at the Coral Gables Regional that the U was hosting.
Yep.
And then they went 2-0 in the Super Regionals at Hattiesburg against Southern Miss. In those 5 games, 5-0 that year, they scored 46 runs and allowed 11. So you jump to 2026. They go 3-0 in Lincoln against Arizona State, Nebraska, and a rematch against Arizona State. In 2022, they went Arizona, the U, Arizona. In 2026, Arizona State, Nebraska, Arizona State. And then the sweep, the 2-0 in Auburn against the host Auburn. 46 to 11 runs scored to runs allowed in 2022, going 5-0. This year, 29 runs scored, 20 allowed. They really threaded the needle, but ticket punched Omaha.
Yeah, no, they've done a great job over these last couple of weeks and really getting the job done. We talked so much last week about what they did in regional play in a really tough region with Nebraska, Arizona State, who was playing really, really hot. You talk about those extra inning games that they had against Arizona State, and to be able to go out there and win both those, really, really big. And then to go to Auburn, a really, really tough team, tough place to play, and win that Super. Really impressive stuff.
And Oklahoma, they beat Kansas in the Super Regional 2-0, outscoring them 21-3. I said Kansas would be wanting to get revenge for all those routes that Barry Switzer would put on them. Well, that looked like Switzer against Bob Valsini in mid '80s. That's about how bad he was beaten. Beat him one year 64-3.
Wow, that's insane. Yeah, no.
And you had Arkansas fans talking about Kansas like they were the 27 Yankees. Just going into there and how those fans are and how that team is. Oklahoma pounded them.
Yeah, they did. And you saw that a lot over the weekend. A lot of it felt like unfair matchups with some big-time scores. But I do want to give Mississippi State and Georgia credit. Those 2 games over the weekend, really, really fun. A whole lot of offense in that park down in Athens. The first game, 13-12. Georgia wins over Mississippi State. And then yesterday, another Georgia win, 11-9. So the runs were there. Really great series, even though it was only 2 games. I was hoping we would get 3 games out of it. But that one was a lot of fun to watch. 2
things for the Georgia Bulldogs. And I said on Friday, I thought the winner of that Super will go on and win it. I'm going to kind of thread the needle a little more here. I think the winner between Georgia and Texas, that's the team to beat in Omaha. But Georgia's going to get to Omaha in 2 big things. One, offensively. Those pop-ups that go out of that little ballpark in Athens, that's not going to happen. How will that affect them when they have a bunch of warning track outs that have been home runs all year, especially when they play at home? And the surface, natural grass, real dirt infield, real chalk on the field, not the spongy real room service bounces they've gotten all year at home, and they had a bushel basket of errors even with the home surface yesterday.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see, and that will definitely be a tough matchup for Georgia in their first game against Texas against Saturday. All SEC in those two games. Let's get to a break, wrap up this first hour on a Monday afternoon, and when we return, we're talking college football and college basketball. David Cobb from CBS Sports, he joins us next.
Be sure to download our Hub 901 app for instant access to Sports 56 and all the Flynn broadcasting stations from anywhere. Go to the App Store and get the Hub 901 app today.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. If you were anywhere in the Mid-South lately, you felt it. High winds, hail, and storms rolling through hard. And here's the truth. If your roof took a hit, you may not see it yet. Hail and wind damage shingles can compromise your roof, opening the door for water intrusion. And once it gets in, the damage spreads fast. Ceilings, walls, insulation, even mold. That's why the sooner we inspect, the less damage you risk. Right now, Metro Builders has teams all over Memphis performing free inspections, handling same-day repairs, and providing emergency water mitigation services if needed. We'll show you exactly what we see, document everything, and help you take action before a small problem becomes a big one. Don't wait until you see water inside. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717, or book your inspection online at metrobuildersmemphis.com. That's Metro Builders Memphis. We don't just build, we build world class.
Hey, you ready to bang? Bangers Pickleball in South Haven is now open with 10 courts, a restaurant, and 3 bars. New to pickleball? No problem. Take a free Bangers 101 class to learn. Bangers offers a great time for everyone, and there's no membership required. Bangers even has events for you non-pickleballers like mahjong, trivia, whiskey, and wine tasting. Bangers Pickleball has it all. All the rage, all the fun, all for you. Please dink responsibly at Bangers Pickleball, 6787 Snowden Lane, South Haven, Mississippi. Let's bang.
Kohl's Father's Day gifts are so good, Dad won't be able to stop bragging about them. To his friends, to his barber, to the server who did not ask. He'll even brag to you, the person who literally bought it for him. From comfy polos and stylish shoes to his favorite cologne and cool tech, get gifts Dad'll be talking about for months at Kohl's and Kohl's.com. You've been warned. Select styles. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, Tito's is known for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Incorporated, Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon, T-Dot's already working with a couple of accidents. Midtown traffic and busy in a couple of spots. Already I-40 here at Chelsea as you work your way down. 240 southbound right now. Expect that to get a little bit heavier here at South Parkway. Again, just trying to get out of the Midtown area. It's a steady flow of traffic on 40 East here, passing Germantown Parkway, headed on out into Fayette County. Hey, don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck. If you're having transmission issues, let them check it out right now at Amco Transmissions with 2 locations here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
When you hear the sound coming, hear the drums drumming, I want you to join.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our second hour on this Monday afternoon. We got to talk some college football and some college basketball. And joining us like he does every single Monday afternoon, it's David Cobb.
Joining Brian and Brett now on Sports Time is National College Football writer for CBS Sports, Memphis native and Tennessee grad, who you can find on Twitter X at David W. Cobb. It's David Cobb.
David Cobb joins us now to talk some college football and college basketball. And it was a surprise to me this morning, but I'm sure it's not a surprise to you, David, that we've got to start with the news this morning from about Brendan Sorsby getting his injunction. And as of right now, if everything stands as it is currently at 4:04 on Monday afternoon, Brendan Sorsby will be playing for Texas Tech after serving a 2-game suspension. Guns up is right. What did you make of the news that came out earlier this morning?
No, I mean, I'm surprised by the ruling. I'm surprised that, okay, so for one thing, initially the judge on this case was a 2-time graduate of Texas Tech University, recused himself. So all these articles that are saying it's a Lubbock judge, it's actually a Fort Worth judge. So Fort Worth is where TCU is. And it's not like the hometown Texas Tech oil territory, guns up judge who just said, oh, yeah, I'm going to help out the Red Raiders this time. That's not what this was. Like, this is a Fort Worth judge. So I'm not going to say, like, that the Fort Worth judge wouldn't be influenced on some level because judges in Texas are elected. And if you vote, if you make a decision that goes against the state university, even if you are all the way over in Fort Worth, I guess there could be political ramifications for you. But my point in saying that is it's not like this was like the judge in the Trinidad Chambliss case. He was from Calhoun County, just a good old Mississippi boy, whatever. Now, that case is different because Trinidad Chambliss actually had a case. Mm-hmm. Now, this Texas Tech deal is there was no case. Like Brendan Sorsby, there is absolutely nothing here that you can look at and say the NCAA is in the wrong. I mean, it is a generations long principle in this country that you cannot bet. I mean, Pete Rose got a lifetime ban in the game of baseball for doing what Brendan Sorsby has admitted to doing. And yet, for whatever reason, the NCAA cannot defend itself. Judges, even in jurisdictions where you wouldn't necessarily expect it, now going against the NCAA, it's shocking, guys. Like, this one is really, really surprising. Like, the NCAA, we've gotten used to them losing in court, but I really didn't think they were going to lose this one, and they did.
Yeah, and it just shows that the NCAA, this is the last clutches they have over anything, because if they can't enforce eligibility and they can't enforce something this brazen, what do we have them for? Why are you paying these? The institutions are paying dues to them.
Right. The only thing the NCAA is good for now is hosting a basketball tournament. Yeah, that's it. And we all understand now that, like, if the NCAA dissolves and whatever, like the Big Ten and the SEC, I mean, they can go and kind of just do their own thing. And I think these decisions kind of pushed us closer to that reality transpiring sooner than maybe a lot of us envisioned. So this one is meaningful. I mean, a lot of them have been, but the eligibility stuff is one thing. Oh, do I get 5 years or 6? Do I get a medical red shirt? Do I get a COVID year? What about JUCO with Pavia, right? Like, all that is okay. That's sort of little squibbles in the eyes of Congress or whatever. Well, is this going to be enough for Congress to say, okay, we got to do something? Because I think this Protect College Sports Act is a little too broad and a little too expansive to really get the momentum that it needs. Like, you don't have the Big Ten and the SEC on board with this bill. So, like, how are you going to get it passed? It goes way too far in some of the stuff it tries to do. And the two biggest conferences whose congressional representatives are not going to be in favor of this. Like, there's just no chance that bill is going to pass. But can we pass something, or are we finally, guys, going to get to the point where we acknowledge and accept that the only logical answer for, quote, saving college sports is collective bargaining? It is the only way that college sports is going to be salvaged, and I don't mean college football. College football is a money-making machine. It will exist and be okay in some capacity. But the financial structure that allows for us to have over a dozen non-revenue sports on most campuses, if that structure is going to continue to exist in anything resembling its current form, there has to be collective bargaining that dictates and governs the rules of college sports. If we don't figure that out and get there soon, like, there won't be anything left to salvage. It'll just be the Big Ten and the SEC playing football, and then some combination of other sports that manage to survive.
How many? If we ever went Super League, what's your lowest number? What's your highest number of teams that make the move into Super League?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Big Ten and the SEC, as currently constructed, would both be in that, and then you would have maybe some of the best from the ACC, a couple maybe of the best from the Big 12. You know, Cody Campbell doesn't want Texas Tech to be left behind. He'll throw around as much money as he feels like he needs to prevent that from happening. So, you know, maybe 40 at the most is what I would say.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Does that mean everybody currently in the SEC, all 16, make the move to Super Conference?
Yeah, I can't see any way where, I mean, a lot of things change. A lot of things have transpired that you could have never imagined. But all right, let's kick Vanderbilt out thing, like, I just, it's kind of a wild reality to contemplate, but I'm not sure I can get there in thinking that's what happened. The only way that really, like, we get to that point is if the SEC and the Big Ten get into bed with private equity. And I'm not going to rule that out either. Like, the Big Ten has flirted with it. Some other schools are pretty far down that road now. When you get private equity involved, they're going to say, look, the value at, what Vanderbilt or what Northwestern or Wake Forest or Rutgers add to you from a value proposition, it's just not worth it. You got to get them out of here and then create more matchups between bigger brands. And, so if private equity gets its say in how college sports are configured, then then some of your lowest of the low Big Ten and SEC type of programs could be in trouble. But until we get to that point, and we're not there yet, especially in the SEC, no, I don't think we're close to having that conversation.
What do you think the timeline will look like now for the NCAA to appeal and we get more information on this Brendan Soares? Because I am glad in all of this, I am glad that we were at least proactive enough to start it this early, because it feels like no matter what happens, we will have definite answers by the time the season starts. But when do you think we get our next kind of real update about this?
Yeah, it'll depend on how quickly they can get their appeal together. And then every state is different. So the process in Texas, I would assume on some level, maybe looks different than it did in Alabama, where, if you recall, the Alabama State Supreme Court actually did rule against the University of Alabama and Charles Bediako and sided with the NCAA on the eligibility case there for Charles Bediako, and so he was ruled out for the rest of the season. So is there a similar process that could take place in a similarly fast fashion in Texas? That's kind of the next step in the Brendan Soares case, is the NCAA's appeal. And I mean, this is absolutely one worth appealing with all of their might and all of their vigor and all of their collective weight, because he has admitted to placing over 40 bets on his own team in college football. And now we're going to say it's okay for him to play. I mean, do we have to explain to everybody, like, why that's an issue? It's the integrity of sports that are kind of on the table here. And you look at the NBA, I mean, like, Malik Beasley his entire basketball future is hanging in the balance right now because he did this.
Millions of dollars.
Yeah, right. He did this in the NBA.
Of his salary.
I mean, so it's just absolutely insane that college sports can't keep somebody like this off the field, especially when like with Bediako, okay, I can buy the irreparable harm deal because Alabama was probably going to pay him $1 million to play basketball last season. What was he making in the G League? Like maybe $100K?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, there's a big difference there. Well, Brendan Thorsby actually has a financially viable alternative. It's called the NFL supplemental draft. He could have gone to that. He's a good enough player to make an NFL roster. Like, he is good enough to be on a 53-man NFL roster. He could have turned pro after this past season at Cincinnati and probably would have been drafted on day 2. Like, the idea that this is doing irreparable harm to him is incorrect. It's not true. Like, he could go to the NFL. Like, there is a financially viable alternative out there for him. So the rationale even in the ruling doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. For some of these college basketball players, the best they could hope to do is the G League. Well, then sure, playing another season. Like Diego Pavia, not an NFL prospect, not going to make a 53-man roster. Yeah, not being able to play college football, that does do irreparable financial harm to him. Although he's free to go get a job in any other profession that he so chooses. With a degree from Vanderbilt University, like nobody would be crying for him. But like with Brendan Thorsby, there is no weight on that. Like he's good enough to play in the NFL. You can make more money playing in the NFL than you can in college. So I just don't buy that part of the argument.
David, you ask rhetorically, do we have to explain this? I'm afraid we do, just like we have to explain that it's not the same case as Trinidad Chambliss or Owen Heineke, the linebacker at Oklahoma. Everybody just wants to throw everything into one big pot and go, look, sameness. And here's what I'm already hearing of. Well, betting's legal now. Yeah, it is, but we also know the standards and the scruples of betting on your own team, and so far his only saving grace is that he never bet against his own team. Where's the IRS? How's a 20-something-year-old have access to this much money? Was he filling out all the right paperwork at tax time with all this?
Well, that's the other thing, too, is he was getting family members and friends to place these votes for him. So what exactly all the legal charges and legal ramifications could be, I don't know.
You do anything with a telephone that's crossing state lines, and that's illegal.
Right. Like there are definitely, like you think back to the Iowa situation, it was like a state gaming commission that actually flagged the betting that a lot of the Iowa State and Iowa players were involved in several years back. And so, there should be some legal ramifications here. Again, it's like every state has their own laws around gambling and what's okay and what's not and the parameters. But yeah, it should be obvious that if you're betting on something that you have inside information about, that it's unethical, and that's clearly what's going on here. And it's just, I don't want to be like doomsday or whatever. Like, I'm still really excited about this college football season, and I'll watch it and enjoy it and write about it whether or not Brendan Thorsby is playing. But it is a sad day. Like, it is a sad day in college sports when the equivalent of Pete Rose gets off with a slap on the wrist, and Pete Rose got a lifetime ban and has his reputation
that he agreed to.
Yeah, but he had his reputation permanently sullied, and look, Brendan Thorsby going to be. I'm not even saying. Look, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not saying he's a horrible person. We all make mistakes, especially when we're young. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean we're absolved from the ramifications of them. He wants to play the mental health card, and it's one of those deals. I mean, I don't even know what you say to that. Like, okay, like, we understand we have a mental health crisis in our country. Anxiety is a real thing. But, like, you don't get to use those as excuses for unethical behavior and then avoid the consequences of it. So it's, and again, it's like he could have still gone and played professional football. So, nobody's saying he's a horrible person. And I do think he obviously acknowledges that he made a mistake. But, I mean, for crying out loud, like, if we're going to just, look at the college basketball case right now with all these players who are accused of betting on their own games. Like, how do we say that their stuff is any different? Like, they threw games. Like, there's a point shaving scandal. Well, what's the difference? Like, what's the difference? Well, you bet everybody can bet on their own game. Like, it doesn't matter anymore.
Well, the Alabama State guys threw the game. They wanted to lose, and so far that hadn't been alleged with Sorsby.
But the line is so thin.
I agree.
Like, the line is so thin, and that's where the problems come in. Is because if you can bet on your own games, betting for or against, your team. I mean, the line on that is how easy would it be to flip that if you're Brendan Sorsby? All right, I put $100 down on my team to win last week, but I don't think the public knows we've got a bunch of injuries that our coach isn't talking about, and I've seen our 2s and 3s, they're not very good.
And so-and-so's homesick, and so-and-so's girlfriend broke up with him. That's why you can't have it, because they've got information that nobody else can have. David, may I be the heartless guy that just wants to take it to just the field of play with Sorsby? Can Texas Tech win it all with him on the field?
Yeah, they're defensively. I mean, the only thing that was holding them back last year was a subpar offense. Well, they paid Brendan Sorsby $5 million to come in and help fix that. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call them a tier 1 title contender, but they're a tier 2 title contender. I mean, this is a college football playoff team that, with Brendan Sorsby at quarterback, is going to be the pretty clear favorite to win the Big 12. So there are major on-field ramifications in the Big 12, especially when you consider the guy who would have been playing, Will Hammond, is coming back from a pretty serious injury. And so now I will say that this ruling includes a 2-game suspension for Brendan Sorsby, but those games will be a bye game against Nothing Burger and then Oregon State, which they should win that game pretty easily. So the on-field ramifications are massive. Like, it turns Texas Tech from a little bit of an afterthought in the national picture to a team that has very realistic national title aspirations.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You brought up the basketball betting probe that's been going on for the last, year and a half, 2 years? Alabama State, the most recent, with 4 players being involved. One of those players, Tony Madlock Jr., the son of then Alabama State head coach Tony Madlock, now Memphis assistant Tony Madlock. A lot of people have been asking, we talked about it on Friday when this news came out. Based on everything that has been put out there so far, it doesn't seem like, and it seems like it's done now, it doesn't seem like Tony Madlock had any involvement or any knowledge of this. Do you think that is the case? Do you think this stands and that he will not be involved in this, and his employment, his job status with the Tigers will not be impacted by this?
I mean, I would surely think so. There have been examples of coaches, like you think back several years ago, like the Alabama baseball coach got hit for sharing information. I would really hope I would hope there's no involvement on the coaching level here, because that's just the next level. Like, if a coach ever involves himself in something like this, one, you've got like your entire, like, I can understand it almost on a certain level from the players, especially at a low major college basketball program, because one, you're not really probably making much NIL. Two, even if you are, your earnings window is pretty short as a college basketball player. Well, as a coach, even at the low major level, you're making good money, especially as a head coach, and you have more than a 5-year window. Like, you have your whole career to continue making good money, and you put that at risk when you dabble in something like this. So I think there's a pretty clear delineation just from the how did we get here standpoint. I can kind of understand how we got here as players. You're on a bad team. You feel like your season isn't really that meaningful anymore. Somebody's offering you enough money to move the needle, and you fall victim or fall prey to that. I just have a harder time getting there with any coaches, being involved with something like that. So, but even though these guys I don't think are eligible anymore, if we do get into a position where active players, and it did happen this past season in college basketball, where active players are accused of throwing games. At this point, I don't think it would be a guarantee that a local judge wouldn't put them back on the floor, even when they've been proven to have thrown games. I mean, I don't know
when
how
does
you
the
can draw
judge tell a coach that he should be playing somebody?
I mean, it happened with Terrence Shannon a few years ago at Illinois. It was Illinois had suspended him.
No, I mean like the backup quarterback's parents sued that he should be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I don't. At this point, nothing would surprise me, Brett. Nothing would surprise me. It just makes me like sad for our judicial system.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't get all really political at all over really anything. It's certainly not in my like public persona at all. But you know, like when you talk about faith in the judicial system, like decisions like this don't help with that. When we're having a little bit of a moment right now as a nation where it feels like people don't trust the judicial system, when judges make rulings that are clearly wrong, I mean, it's just what? It's just baffling. It's just baffling. And so, I hope today is like a wake up call for. I don't think it'll be for Congress because I just have so little faith in Congress. But you know, for somebody out there who has the power to help push this thing in a better direction, that like, hey, we got to get serious about the future of college sports, or else this is just going to become something that we can't recognize or trust. Mm-hmm. When we start putting players who have knowingly bet on their own teams onto the field of play again after they've admitted to doing so, like we've officially gone down a really dark path. And how we come back from that it's gonna be a long and difficult journey, and I don't know if we can. I think college football will continue to be played, be enjoyed, and be watched, but I don't think we can take that for granted like we used to, because when you look at NASCAR, you look at boxing, you look at you just take it for granted. You just take it for granted that it's going to be healthy, it's going to be vibrant, and it's going to resemble something we've always enjoyed. But days like today just kind of make you wonder if we can take it for granted like we always have, and that's kind of a little bit of a scary place to be.
Yeah, no question about it. Last thing for you, David, maybe the most hard-hitting question of the day. What do you enjoy doing more, mock drafts or the field of now 70 whatever we're at now, the bracketology stories?
Well, I had my mock draft last week, and I've got another bracketology coming this week. Enjoyed a little time at the beach last week, so my stream of content has been a little slow. Plus, you know, like they kind of gave me a little bit of an off season this year, which was nice. So I've been, but I got a couple of big ones coming. I got the mock draft, or not the mock, but the 76 team mock bracketology that'll be updated after the draft withdrawal deadline and all the last kind of 11th hour transfers. So that'll be in a few days, and then I got a big Power 4 quarterback tiers and categories story that's coming out later this week. So we'll have a lot to talk about as it pertains to actual on the field, on the court sort of stuff next Monday, assuming there's not another earth-shattering college sports court ruling that we have to debate.
I'm not going to hold my breath. It feels like those now come on a weekly basis. But David, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your week, and we'll talk to you again next Monday.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, David. David Cobb joining us, and he wouldn't give me a straight answer on that. I'll answer it for him. If I was in that position, I would hate doing the bracketologies. I would much rather enjoy doing the mock drafts, especially now that we're at 1 million teams in the bracket. No, thank you. Give me the mock draft. But we need to get to another break. When we return, we talked earlier about Omaha. The field is set. We got to talk the Ole Miss Rebels. Michael Katz from the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal. He covers the Ole Miss baseball team. We'll talk with him about what got Ole Miss to Omaha. We do that next on Sports Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Looking for that perfect piece that says forever? As did Grammy winner Lainey Wilson for her engagement. Discover the elegance of Holly Winter fine jewelry in Germantown. From stunning custom designs and engagement rings to timeless gifts she'll treasure for years, Holly Winter offers personalized service and beautiful fine jewelry for every occasion. Visit Holly Winter Fine Jewelry at the Shops of Forest Hill on Poplar, where Memphis finds sparkle, style, and something truly special. Holly Winter Fine Jewelry, 9155 Poplar, Suite 18.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
This traffic brought to you by Old Dominick Distillery. Come for the spirits, stay for the experience. Cheers to Memphis. Learn more at olddominick.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Clean up on this record. It's been here for a little while, slowing down rush hour traffic on Millmore Parkway eastbound at Kirby. That's going outbound towards Collierville. It's got a little bit slow out here. Hopefully they'll pull off sooner than later and get out of here because it's already heavy on this side of town anyway, pushing towards Collierville as it builds up through Midtown on I-40, especially up by Chelsea. Hey, bridal season is here. Stop by and shop local this week at Wagner's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and we've got to talk some Ole Miss baseball as they're getting ready to make their way up to Omaha again. They'll start their first game at 6 o'clock on Friday. We'll have the coverage right here on Sports 56. It'll be on ESPN. But joining us now to talk some Ole Miss Rebel, Michael Katz from the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal. He joins us now. Michael, thanks so much for joining us. This has been fun watching this Ole Miss team advance all the way to Omaha again. But what have these last 2 weekends been like covering this team? 2 road environments. They go up to Lincoln for the regionals and Auburn this past weekend for the Supers. And they look unbeatable right now. What have you seen these last 2 weekends from the Rebels?
I think that's what's so cool about college baseball and the college baseball postseason. Particularly when you look at, before the NCAA tournament, Ole Miss lost to Missouri. The number 16 team in the SEC tournament was coming off a series loss at Alabama. Had been playing pretty well before that. But, I think that loss to Missouri, it was a low-stakes game, but maybe had people thinking, what is the ceiling of this team? And you look now, and they're 5-0, again, swept through their regional and their super regional on the road. If you look at the path they've had to take, obviously, took down a pair of number 1 seeds on the road, but then, that Arizona State team with one of the best offenses in the country had to play them twice. Auburn, really, really good team. Nebraska's a really, really good team. They've earned it. They have earned this, and so it's been when the bracket came out, there was a part of me that said I can see the path with the matchups, because so much of this is matchups. And in 2022, it just kind of came together, and obviously they won the whole thing. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here, but I'm not like a big team of destiny guy, but man, they're playing really, really well when they need to.
Michael, they are. And I sent this to you earlier, and I referenced it earlier. In 2022, went 5-0 to get to Omaha, outscoring 46-11 of the team, plus 35 advantage. This year, it's 29-20, 5-0. 2 1-run wins, 2 2-run wins, and 1 3-run win. They have really, really threaded the needle, but good teams win close games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I remember in 2022, I think they went to Miami and they ended up blowing out Miami when they played, and they played Arizona, I believe, twice, and I think those both ended up being blowouts, particularly the last one. And obviously the Southern Miss series had its moments. But yeah, they kind of they made it look easy in 2022. They've really had to earn this, and they've won games in different ways. I think that we've looked so much of this Ole Miss team, particularly offensively. It's been home run or nothing, right? But they have found ways to score runs when they need to in important situations. Going back to Lincoln and against Arizona State in those extra inning games, the walk and the sac fly. Those are situations that Ole Miss hasn't always struck in this year. They have struggled at times with runners on base, but they've made it work when they needed to. And then going back to game 2 against Auburn, you have to take hit list through the first 5 innings or whatever it was, and all of a sudden you start stringing some hits together, and Judd Utermark gets that big 2-run double, and then obviously the home runs after that. But they've just figured out ways to keep things close, and I think that's, one, a testament to how good the pitching's been, but 2, the timely hit has been there, and at times during the regular season that wasn't always the case, but it doesn't really matter now. They're doing it when it matters the most.
And Federico's catch may go down with Deshaun Stribling's catch in the Sugar Bowl.
Goodness, I was watching that, and we were down the right field line, so we had a pretty good view, and we saw it. And the people I was next to, we all looked at each other, and our jaws kind of dropped. And again, that's just sort of one of those things. Like, things need to just go right for you in the postseason. Sometimes those unexplainable things. Obviously, there's a lot of talent in a play like that. But, I was watching, the USC North Carolina game yesterday, and USC didn't make those plays with a chance to go to the College World Series. So a lot of things have to kind of go your way, and obviously you make your own luck to an extent. But yeah, no, incredible. I mean, I couldn't believe that he held on to it. I couldn't believe all of that play. I mean, again, it's sometimes I hate Team of Destiny, but man, there's a lot of things going for this team right now.
You got to have that, Michael. To the Bianco detractors, in 2022 in dog pile in Omaha, that clammed them up for a while, for a good while. But the Tennessee Tech exit and last year the Murray State exit, it brought them all back. If he could go on and win yet another one, without winning it and with winning it, shouldn't it really clam some people up for forever?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't want to say like winning the championship in 2022 ended the conversation, because obviously, fans are what they are. They're fanatics for a reason, right? But I think that going back to College World Series again, the third time under Mike, especially with, you look back to after the 2022 season, those 2 rough seasons after that that's what got, fans talking again, right? About, was it a flash in the pan? But you look at what Mike did, and he completely sort of reinvented the way he does things. And he talked about this after Game 2 against Auburn, that he had to become more of a manager than a coach, and that was taking his hands off a little bit more, not calling pitches like he did his entire career leading up to that, and hiring Joel Mangrum, and sort of. I think it's hard when you've been running a program for 2 decades a certain way, and you look yourself in the mirror and realize you have to do things differently. And he did that. And last year, they took a major step forward, and obviously they're back in the College World Series. So I think context is obviously really important too. I think when you look at it, this is one of the best coaches in America. I don't think, listen, I've only been here 5 years, and this is their second trip to the College World Series. So maybe I have a skewed look at it. But I don't know how you could ask, listen, would you love to host the Super Regional and go to the College World Series every year? Of course, but that's just not the way it works.
No.
What Mike Bianco has done and the consistency, I don't think there's any question that this is one of the best coaches in America.
Yeah, no, it's been super impressive to watch. You mentioned Judd Utermark earlier and what he has been for Ole Miss, not just this season, but the last couple of years, but now, really stepping up this season for the team. What has he meant for this group, not just in the postseason, but really the season as a whole?
I think him and Will Furnace, I kind of grouped together a little bit because those are two guys that came in right after they won it all. And, boy, those first 2 years for them were really bad. I think I combined 17-43 in the SEC.
Wow.
I mean, it was bad. And they stuck it out, and they decided they wanted to, and rather than jump ship, they wanted to be the guys who spurred the change and got the program back on track. And, I mean, you can't help but have respect for guys like that who, when times get tough, don't turn the other way and run. These are guys that love Ole Miss, and they decided they wanted to be here. And so, obviously, the statistics are incredible. Judd is the all-time home run hitter at Ole Miss. He's been about as good of an ambassador for Ole Miss baseball as you can ask for. And the same for Will Furnace. And they've both just developed, and it wasn't always easy for both of them. I mean, Will was, he was good from the start, but maybe not what he is now. And Judd Utermark, had injuries, and he really didn't play a ton his first 2 years. And, just for them to lead this team to this point and be, two of the superstars and faces of the College World Series team, I think it's there's so many things that we look at in college sports right now, and we say, I hate the way things are going, and the transfer portal and NIL and blah, 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 blah. I think that those two guys are something to look at and say, like, this is what's right with college sports. They earned this one.
Mike, when you made that move and loaded up everything to move from Los Angeles to Mississippi 5 years ago, we rode back up the elevator together after being on the field at the Sugar Bowl, and you asked me, you said, where's this rank? I said, best college football game I've ever been to. And you just kind of shook your head like, wow, can you believe these last 5 years for you?
It's pretty incredible. Honestly, I left California actually in 2015 because I was in Boise, Idaho for a bit when I was in Wyoming. So it's been an interesting path for me. But it's interesting because when I got here, I heard a lot about how it just never quite goes right for Ole Miss, and something always happens. And it's just like, man, Ole Miss got close and something happened. In the 5 years I've been here, it's been really, really good. I've seen a couple of New Year's Six games. I've seen an incredible run to the college football playoff semis where they were, a few inches away and maybe a pass interference away from playing for the national title. 2 College World Series, 1 title. We'll see what happens here. What men's golf did last year, what the softball team did, what track and field has done. It's been pretty incredible. To
Sweet
see
16 for Beard last year.
The Sweet 16s, yeah, in both men's and women's. It's pretty incredible, the all around programs that Ole Miss has right now. So, when I took the job, Lane had just finished his first year. This was not a program that was nearly in the state it is now. Ole Miss had just gotten their hearts broken in I believe, the Tucson Super Regional that year before, and so it's just been very different. It's been cool to see the programs do what they've done, and as a sports writer, you don't root for teams, you root for stories, and you root for people and people with good stories. And I've just been honored I've seen some really cool stories and covered some really good people in my 5 years.
Yeah.
Where do you hang your PhD shingle in Lane Kiffin, having covered him at SC and at Ole Miss?
Huh.
It's how many people can put that on a resume, right?
No one.
Yeah.
You're in.
It is very it is funny, and obviously, I was he he got fired from SC the year after I left, but I was there when they were the preseason #1 team and finished unranked, and it was just this huge disaster. And that was my memory of Lane. And then, obviously, what he did at this program. I know people have a lot of thoughts on Lane right now, and that's fair given how things ended. But I don't think he can dispute the turnaround that he had for this program. So it has been it's been interesting to see different versions of the person and the coach. And obviously he's not here anymore. But you can't discount the success he had here, and it's very different from my last memories of him at USC, because I remember spending my New Year's Eve in 2012 in El Paso for the Sun Bowl against a Georgia Tech team that had to file a waiver.
Wasn't it?
No, it was bad. It wasn't that bad, but this was a Georgia Tech team that had to file a waiver to be eligible for the Sun Bowl because they were under 500. Jeez. And they beat USC. So those were like my last memories of that era. So it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, no, that is a wild ride. One last question on Ole Miss baseball before we let you go. I saw this story making waves yesterday after kind of all the talk about Ole Miss advancing. Dom Decker last year knocking Ole Miss out at Murray State. He transfers to Ole Miss, now back in Omaha. That's a wild story.
Yeah, no, it's maybe, he's a junior. He's got another year left, obviously. But, man, if you're trying to win if you're trying to go to the College World Series, you're trying to get that guy, right?
No kidding.
No, he has been so good for Ole Miss. You always wonder how we saw him play in the regional, obviously, last year, but you wonder, over the course of a 60-whatever game season, how it's going to translate. And he has been just so good for them at the top of the lineup. He draws walks. He gets the timely hit. He never hit a home run before this year, and he's got 10 this year.
Wow.
And he's played a really good second base, and off the field, he's just been a really good leader for them. And Hunter Elliott was the only guy who was still on that College World Series team. So I think to add another guy who has College World Series experience is big, and you add that in with the veterans that they already had who had kind of seen everything. I think they have a really good mix of personalities in that locker room. And Don Decker has been a huge addition. Listen, are the numbers going to tell the whole story? No, but I think, as Mike Bianco said, he's just a really good baseball player, and I think you need a couple of those.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Well, it's going to be fun this weekend as Ole Miss kicks things off in Omaha. But, Michael, as always, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a blast, and we'll do it again soon.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. No, I confused the 3-0 Oregon State over Pitt in the Sun Bowl to that 21-7 thriller he said he had to set through against Georgia Tech.
That is a thriller right there. That is a game that you for sure want to be at.
New Year's Eve in El Paso.
Whew, yeah, not fun. Does not sound fun at all. But hey, I think you could spend your New Year's Eve in worse places. It might be hard, but I think there are worse places to spend your New Year's Eve. So
I had that 2022. That was the only hope I had 2 weeks ago when the brackets came out, that maybe, just maybe, and on the verge of maybe.
Yeah, we always talk about it. There's something to getting hot at the right time, playing your best baseball at the right time, and it feels like Ole Miss is doing just that right now.
And we know before the first pitch, there will be an SEC team in the finals.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
From the right side.
That's exactly right. So
in a year I thought it was down. And this is the trouble with stereotyping and generalizations. LSU wasn't right. I didn't think Florida was right. Tennessee, not what they have been. No. I didn't think it was vintage Arkansas. No. I didn't think it was very good Ole Miss. I didn't think it was very good Vandy. Well, that's a lot of heft right there.
Yeah, those are the teams that over the last 10 years have been the dominant teams in the SEC. So to have those teams down and kind of these other teams stepping up and filling the place. I mean, Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia, Texas now coming into the conference. To have these teams kind of make up for all that. Yeah, exactly. So, it's different, but there's still certainly a ton of SEC in there. And like you said, we know we'll at least have a SEC team in the finals. Well, let's get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, you ready to bang? Bangers Pickleball in South Haven is now open with 10 courts, a restaurant, and 3 bars. New to pickleball? No problem. Take a free Bangers 101 class to learn. Bangers offers a great time for everyone, and there's no membership required. Bangers even has events for you non-pickleballers like mahjong, trivia, whiskey, and wine tasting. Bangers Pickleball has it all. All the rage, all the fun, all for you. Please dink responsibly at Bangers Pickleball, 6787 Snowden Lane, South Haven, Mississippi. Let's bang.
Napa Cafe celebrates 28 years in 2026.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner. Maybe start with an appetizer like our baked sweet piquilla peppers stuffed with goat cheese and mozzarella, finish with basil pistou, and move on to one of our cozy dishes like the double chocolate stout braised boneless beef short ribs with tonkatsu sauce and creamy mashed potatoes. Or a fresh seafood dish like our pan-roasted ginger buttered sea bass with cilantro soy vinaigrette. I get hungry just talking about it. Don't forget about dessert, our famous sweet buttermilk pie with brown sugar sauce, or drink your dessert with one of our signature dessert cocktails like the lemon cheesecake martini, lemony, icy, frothy, and dusted with graham cracker crumbs. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. We can't wait to serve you.
Come join in and celebrate 28 years of Napa Cafe in 2026.
It's takeover time, and you'll know when. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors, and the takeover time I mentioned is when your house has been on the market for so long and you want somebody to come in, take over, properly market it, and get it sold. People often say when you want the job done, call Sheldon, because I have a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and when. It involves preparation before you go on the market, along with proper presentation and accurate pricing based on our ever-changing market and rates, and being made aware of what's going on around you so you can make intelligent decisions, not merely guessing. Call me at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com and let me take your listing over and get it sold. I may be lousy at golf, but I sure do sell some homes. Call me, Sheldon Rosengarten, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
And she says, I wish that
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brown. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today actually comes from Major League Baseball, which surprised me when I was looking for a big number earlier today, because I figured I'd be able to find a basketball big number. But this one jumped out at me, and when I saw it, I stopped everything. I said, this is my big number for the day. My big number is the number 7. Jacob Mizorowski of the Milwaukee Brewers has a .20 ERA over his last 7 starts. He's only given up 1 earned run in 45.1 innings pitched in that time. That's the lowest ERA by an MLB pitcher over a 7-game start span, with a minimum of 30 innings pitched since Bob Gibson from June 6th to July 6th, 1968. Bob Gibson, in that span, had a .14 ERA through those 7 starts. So Jacob Mizorowski has been electric over these last 7 starts.
That was the year of the pitcher. That was 1.12 ERA for Gibson, and
right.
for Denny McLain winning 31 that year for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's right. So good company to be in if you are Jacob Mizorowski, and he has been huge since being called up last season up in Milwaukee.
Who's your National League starter, Mizorowski or Ohtani in the All-Star game?
Mizorowski.
And I think a lot of it will have to do who had gone most recently and kind of on schedule, but good options. My big number is 23. That's the NBA wins in finals for the San Antonio Spurs as a franchise. They've won it all 5 times, so 4 times 5, and they lost 1 time 4-3, so that equals 23. They got to get to 24 or this is over.
Yes. No,
Tonight's got to be win number 24 in NBA finals or it's taps.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly feel better about the Spurs if they get the win tonight. But, man, I don't know. I still think it's going to be tough for the Spurs. Even if they win tonight, I just got to see more from the Spurs team for me to really believe that they're going to come back and win this one. But tonight, if they win tonight, that certainly helps things.
I wonder if you've seen this. I saw a story we were talking last week about if the Knicks win, we just know they'll be game 1 on opening night of the kind of Eastern 6:30, in game 2 probably rematch of Spurs and Oklahoma City in the second game. And I saw a story that the league's already said it's going to be Knicks against Boston at Madison Square Garden, no matter what. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that. No, but I think it makes
a lot
of
of sense.
sense.
I saw it at one place, and I don't know how.
Yeah. I think it makes a lot of sense. And look, I mean, we saw it last year with the doubleheader. I mean, why not have a doubleheader? No matter what happens, you start with the Knicks and against Boston, and you end with OKC and San Antonio. I mean, I think that would be an unbelievable first night of the NBA season.
And the Knicks are always the first game on Christmas. Winning it all, does that vault them into prime time, or do they again lead everything off on Christmas Day?
I think you start with them. I mean, it's kind of tradition at this point. And at that point, you're so far removed from, if you give them the first night and have the whole ceremony there, by the time you get to Christmas, I know it's the unofficial start for a lot of people, but you're so far removed at that point. You keep tradition where it is. You let them start the day and then figure everything else
out.
They're
the Lions on Thanksgiving.
They
go first on
right.
Christmas.
That's right. And I love it. I don't want it any other way. So, no, it'll be fun, and I think I said it earlier. I think the NBA, the storylines are insane if the Knicks finish this off and win this series. Not only do you have all the stories of Knicks winning the first one in 50-plus years, you've got all the stories of Spurs and Victor Wembanyama. They make it, they lose. What happens now? Kind of the start of almost that villain arc of they lose, and he kind of goes and locks himself in the gym for the offseason, and then we see that team come out, ready to fire on all cylinders next year.
Tonight it's going to be the announcement, and you said it's going to be very much like going to the airport of the things that are going to be checked for. And I sure hope that there's not a single one, and I bet there's not. I bet there's not there's not going to be a handgun seized at checkpoints tonight at Madison Square Garden. But I would like to see what got seized.
Sure, yeah. What all are they? What did somebody bring thinking
it's
they
not
going to
be too large a shampoo bottle at the airport?
No, definitely not. So, yeah, it's a very good question. I've already seen some pictures of the lines that have already formed to get in, and it looks like chaos out there. So
it does.
Good for them. I'm glad they're the ones waiting and not me. I would not be happy if I had to stand in those long lines to get into the game. But hey, I guess if the opportunity presented itself, I'd be in those lines and I'd be having the time of my life. I'm sure they're having fun. I mean, the way that we've seen the watch parties and all that stuff throughout the playoffs, I would assume they're having fun in line. I doubt it's a very dull environment standing in line. So I'm sure they're
what's going to be the
fly.
Concession take tonight inside the Garden with it this long until tip time?
No kidding. That is well. That's where these hot dog vendors and stuff like that up in New York. I mean, you're just pushing your cart up and down that line.
This is your shot.
Who needs some food? Because I've got it for you. So I'm sure we'll get more pictures and videos of that here in the next hour as we get closer and closer to Game 3 tonight at Madison Square Garden. But let's go ahead, wrap up this second hour, and when we return, we're talking the NBA, we're talking the Grizzlies. To Michael Cole, the Grizzlies beat reporter over at the Commercial Appeal. He joins us next.
Not only can you listen to your favorite shows on Sports 56, you can also watch video of the shows live on Twitter and YouTube. Watch and listen every day at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at codesdispensary.com. That's codesdispensary.com.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgos. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, there's some things about the Rendezvous I want to talk about. For example, we make it really easy to park. We have valet parking right at Monroe Street in our alley. We also want to make it easy for people to get to-go orders. You can now park in our alley right at our front door and put your flashers on. People also forget that we take reservations for 6 or more. And we have a wonderful party room upstairs that can accommodate people for rehearsal dinners, birthday parties, reunions, graduations. Our rooms seat between 25 and 275 people. And everything at the Rendezvous can be packed to go. Brett, we also do catering. See our menu online, and we can even deliver for groups of 15 or more. So if you have any questions, always feel free to call us at the Rendezvous because we answer our phone ourselves. You'll never hear, please listen carefully for our menu has changed. Press 1 for reservations, press 2 for hours, press 3 for catering, or if you know your party's 9-digit extension number and the first 3 letters of their mother's maiden name, dial it now. Come see us at the Rendezvous.
Since 1948, the Rendezvous.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. If you were anywhere in the Mid-South lately, you felt it. High winds, hail, and storms rolling through hard. And here's the truth. If your roof took a hit, you may not see it yet. Hail and wind damage shingles can compromise your roof, opening the door for water intrusion. And once it gets in, the damage spreads fast. Ceilings, walls, insulation, even mold. That's why the sooner we inspect, the less damage you risk. Right now, Metro Builders has teams all over Memphis performing free inspections, handling same-day repairs, and providing emergency water mitigation services if needed. We'll show you exactly what we see, document everything, and help you take action before a small problem becomes a big one. Don't wait until you see water inside. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717, or book your inspection online at metrobuildersmemphis.com. That's Metro Builders Memphis. We don't just build, we build world class.
This traffic brought to you by Old Dominick Distillery. Come for the spirits, stay for the experience. Cheers to Memphis. Learn more at olddominick.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's busy now on that 55 bridge pushing over into Crittenden County, West Memphis. Right on schedule, actually, throughout the Midtown area as that traffic volume increases. 240 South here in South Parkway. Radar, well, we've got plenty of that out here to go around this afternoon. I-40, especially out in parts of Fayette County, just passing New Airline Road. Hey, bridal season is here. Shop local this week and save a ton of money at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden, weekdays from 11 to 1. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet at 7450 Highway 64 in Bartlett. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our third and final hour on this Monday afternoon. We've got to talk the Grizzlies. We'll talk some NBA as well with the Game 3 of the Finals in a couple hours. But joining us now to talk all things Grizzlies, it's DeMichael Cole. He's the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. And DeMichael, first off, thanks so much for joining us again. But over at the Commercial Appeal, a couple days ago, you had a story up breaking down Cameron Carr and his fit for the Grizzlies at that 16 spot. We've talked so much about these 3 draft spots that the Grizzlies currently have. Now, a lot can change before those picks, but right now it does seem like a lot of people think that Cameron Carr could be in play at number 16. What do you think about his game, and what do you think about his fit with the Grizzlies?
Yeah, it's less about him being in play at 16 and more about the idea of getting him as a player, because the thing is, look, we were out there in Chicago at Scout Combine, guys, and I say, man, after that first scrimmage, forget exactly what he had, but he had 32 points, 33 points, something like that. He was clearly one of the star players on the floor. It was buzz going around. Everyone was talking about him, and it became clear at that point, this guy's probably going to be a lottery pick. If not, Chicago at 15, makes a lot of sense. And you've seen a lot of mock drafts that have mocked Chicago at 15 to be where he lands. So the Grizzlies, if they want to get him, they're probably going to have to jump up. Now, to the other part of your question about just the type of player that he is, I think the simple way of putting it is, if we like comparisons, it's almost kind of the Cedric Coward mold from the standpoint of a guy who has a safe floor but high upside. You talk about a guy who shot three-pointer very well in college at Baylor. He played 2 years at Tennessee. His second year is one he's going to get a lot of questions about. I'm sure a lot of teams have been asking him about it. I asked him about it in Chicago. If you remember the story, he was at Tennessee, and as Rick Barnes put it, he just left. That's what Rick Barnes said. He just left. So he left mid-season. There were some questions that he's had to answer about that. But, the talent, you talk about a 42-inch max vert, 38.5-inch standing vertical, 6'5", 7-foot wingspan, 37% three-point shooter with range. He knocked down some really long-range shots at Baylor. So he has NBA range. He is a little light. He's a $185 at this point. But that 7-foot wingspan, it really plays. You turn on the tape, you're going to see a guy who averaged 1.3 blocks per game, as a wing. And a lot of that is reminiscent of what Cedric Coward, we saw him as a weak side, help defender. How many times did we see Cedric Coward meet guys at the rim and block shots? You turn on Cameron Carr's tape, you're going to see a lot of that. So it's the idea of pairing multiple really creative wings who have safe floors. He's going to be a solid three-point shooter. With that 7-foot wingspan, he knows how to use it. So there's some good defensive upside there. And yes, he has to get stronger with the ball, just like Cedric Coward has to get stronger with the ball. Yes, you want there to be more to his offensive creation package, but he's a big-time athlete, and he's one that teams are falling in love with, because you're seeing that type of player be a hot commodity. Look at the finals right now. You got Julian Champagnie. You got Devin Vassell, who is one I've seen Cameron Carr be come to on one team. And then on the other team, you got OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. All those guys are those 3-and-D type players. They play quality defense, but they also shoot the ball at a high level. They space the floor, and they're not required to do too much, so to speak.
And I know it was just one college game, but Cameron Carr against the Memphis Tigers last year, 13 points, 10 rebounds, and a 78-71 loss at FedEx Forum.
Yeah, and the 10 rebounds again goes back to the point where I say he knows he has a 7-foot wingspan. Like that's something I remember Cedric Coward was talking about when he first got here. He's like, yeah, everyone talks about my wingspan, and I'm trying to take advantage of that and whatnot. Cameron Carr takes advantage of it. The rebounding that you just mentioned, we talked about the leaping ability, the 1.3 blocks per game. Like you look at a lot of his blocks, it's him just leaping. Some of it is closeout on three-pointers, some of it is chase downs, and some of it is just help defense, beating guys at the rim. So he brings a lot to the table. And Cedric Coward does a lot of the same stuff too. So pairing those guys, you potentially could have a dynamic, defensive wing tandem. And you need that in the Western Conference, because you're going against Shea Gilgeous. You're going against Anthony Edwards. You're going against Devin Booker. The list goes on and on and on. There's so many guys in the Western Conference, Luka Doncic, etc. And you're going to need those multiple wings who have defensive makeups to throw at them.
Yeah. You mentioned, talking about Cameron Carr, that if the Grizzlies want to pick him, it would probably involve them moving up. There have been some rumors today, the last couple of days, that instead of kind of the rumors that were the last couple of weeks of the Grizzlies moving back, the Grizzlies moving up from 16 into and trying to get into the top 10. I know we talk all the time about the chances of them moving up from 16, but have you heard anything about them looking to move up, and what do you think the chances are that they could maybe move up into that top 10 and take one of those 4 guards that kind of everybody has grouped together?
Oh, it's on the table. It's on the table. The older people say the proof's in the pudding, right?
Yep.
And if you look at the history.
I speak for all old people, DeMichael. I speak for every one of us.
Fast used that one before. And you look at the history of what the Grizzlies have done in the draft under Zach Kleiman. History tells you anytime there's been a lottery first-round pick for the Grizzlies, there's been some type of movement involved with that pick. Anytime the Grizzlies have drafted in the lottery, Zach Edey, for example, not anytime, but Zach Edey is a good example. They drafted him in the lottery. John Morant, they drafted him in the lottery. They stayed put. A lot of other times they've moved up to the lottery, right? To get Zaire Williams, they moved up. To get Cedric Howe, they moved up. There are examples of that. In both of those cases, they were in the teens, right? There have been some other cases where they've been in the 20s and they moved up. They moved up to go get Jake LaRavia. I believe they traded a first-round pick to get, traded into the first round and traded DeAnthony Melton as well to go get David Roddy. So for first-round picks that are outside of that lottery window, like 16, like everything is on the table. So I think you got to consider that. You got to consider what we've been told and what we know. We know that the Grizzlies don't want this to be a long rebuild. Well, how do you prevent this from being a long rebuild? You go and get your guys right now. Because financially you'll be able you got to go get your guys. You're not going to just get some, you're not in a position to where you can just add a plug-and-play guy who, rounds you out. You need to go get the best available. And how do you do that? You look at this draft and look at the makeup of the draft, right? When you get to that 16 range, like you just talk through the makeup of this draft. When you get to, say, 12 to 20, the reason you're hearing about Cameron Carr a lot is because there are not a lot of wings that are projected to go in that 12 to 20 range. Braden Burries is possibly going to be off the board. And at that point, Cameron Carr is probably the only real wing. Like Dalen Swain, you can make an argument for him being top 20, and no one's going to put up a big fight about it. But other than that, like, there aren't many wings. What you're going to see is a bunch of guards, like Bennett Sturts, Baron Filon, Christian Anderson, some of those names come up, and you're going to see power forwards and centers. You're going to see names like Jaden Quinnen, Haynes Steinbeck, power forwards last center, Yaxel Lindenberg, Morez Johnson. Those are more the names that you see in that range. And you look at what the Grizzlies could draft and what they potentially will draft, you're probably getting a power forward with that first pick. So that's why you're hearing, the idea of the Grizzlies moving up, because if you move up, you kind of control what you can do a little bit more. And they have the draft capital. I keep pointing to this because we haven't talked about it much, but now's the time to start talking about it. The Grizzlies have 3 first-round picks next year. They have a top 4 protected pick from the Los Angeles Lakers that definitely should convey. The Lakers shouldn't be drafted in the top 4 next year. So you're going to get a top 4 protected pick there. You also have the most favorable of the pick that we talked about a lot between the Utah Jazz, Minnesota Timberwolves, Cleveland Cavaliers. That's another first-round pick. Then they have their own. There's no way the Grizzlies should be using 3 first-round picks next year. So it puts you in the perfect opportunity to say, hey, we can package 16, add an additional first in 2027 to that 16th pick as well. And then we saw when they did the Cedric Howard deal, they moved up to 11. They added a future first-round pick and 2 seconds. So you can add a couple second-round picks as well, or add maybe another future first with some protections on it. And they should be in position to get to 10, 9, 8, maybe even 7, if they want to.
Yeah, this thing could turn around very favorably. I think a lot of it, and you have said it, Rob Fisher, when he joins us, he always says it, and Keith Smith always says it. A lot of it hinges on Zach Edey and health. But if we could get the blessing of good health, it all could turn around really, really quickly. The Grizzlies aren't moving out of 3, are they?
No. Don't think that's happening. I haven't heard anything.
What's the debate? DeBanza won't be there. Utah's going to get him, if nothing else, at 2. So let's say DeBanza, Peterson are gone. How heavy inside the organization, as best you can report, would the Wilson-Boozer debate be?
I think it probably be a little bit more of a debate right now, based on, again, what I've been here, and I haven't heard much on the Caleb Wilson front, so I'll say that. So with that part being added, I mean, Darren Peterson is such a special talent. Like, if you think about the fact that there could be, an opportunity or a route where the Grizzlies could get Darren Peterson, or they could get, a guy like Cam Boozer. I think Cam Boozer is definitely the other name, but I don't see them trading out of that spot. This is what they've worked for, right? This is, being honest, this is why you did all that tanking. It's because you wanted to be in position to get you a player who can turn this thing around quick, fast, and in a hurry. And yeah, in theory, you can trade back or whatever the case may be and still get a player that you're high on. I was talking about on my podcast this morning how I think when we talk about the first tier of guys who can really come in and be cornerstone players for the Memphis franchise, I would throw Darius Acuff in there. Not saying that he's a better option than some of those guys, but being your point guard of the future, I'm cool with him being the Grizzlies' point guard of the future and feeling like we can have a bunch of success going that route. So, look, there are some options that make sense, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel like the most plausible route for the Grizzlies to turn this thing around.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's just say in a world the Grizzlies do stay at number 16. You wrote today kind of talking about what a lot of various mock drafts predict the Grizzlies will do at all three of their positions. And at 16, and these are the two names that I feel like I'm seeing more and more as we get closer to the draft. At number 16, Okori, the point guard over at Stanford, and Anderson, the point guard at Texas Tech. If it comes down between those two, and the Grizzlies are going to pick one of those, do you have a preference? Do you think one is better than the other? What do you think about those two guards?
Man, well, it always comes down to fit to me. And between the two, I'm going to say Okori, not because he's a better player, but because of what the Grizzlies need. So Christian Anderson specializes. He can shoot the three-pointer really, really well, and he's a terrific playmaker. And the Grizzlies have a bunch of guards. I don't think playmaking is a problem in Memphis anytime soon with all the point guards that they have. Like, yeah, they may not be great, like incredible playmakers, but they have enough guys who can dribble the ball up the floor and get guys involved. The shooting is plus with Christian Anderson as well, but where Abuga Okori separates himself is the shot creativity, the ability to score off the dribble, to score off the bounce. And that's something that he projects to do better than what most Grizzlies players on the current roster can do. So I look at Javon Small and I say, man, he shot 40% from three-point range, shot the ball well, was a real good pull-up three-point shooter. And I look at the defense that he plays, and I'm thinking to myself, is Christian Anderson that much of an upgrade over him to validate drafting him at 16 instead of going to get another, impact player? Whereas I look at Abuga Okori, and I'm saying that shot creativity. You go look at that game against North Carolina where he had like 35 points. Go look at some of his other games against some of the better teams in the ACC. You're going to see a guy who's got some wiggle, who's going to put the ball on the floor. And you say, man, the Grizzlies don't have a lot of guys where you say 7 seconds on the shot clock, everybody move right away. I can take care of this. Like, stay calm. That was a problem this year, and that projects to be a problem even at this point of what they have with the core going forward. Like, we haven't seen that from Cedric Coward just yet. There were a couple times, I remember that game against the San Antonio Spurs, when Zach Edey was playing, there were a couple times the shot clock winded down and they just threw him the ball and got out of the way, and they didn't get much out of it. So I do think that of the two players that you mentioned, Okori makes the most sense for that one reason alone. Christian Anderson is probably levels better as a playmaker. He's a whole level above Abuga Okori in that area. But that isn't as much of a concern to me right now as finding a guy who can be a creative scorer.
DeMichael, these mock drafts, I swear there was a point in February, March, Dalen Swain from Texas, he was in low 30s, Brian. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He has just moved up. I mean, it's low 30s to mid 20s to now 17 at Tankathon.
Yeah. That's exactly what's happening. And again, you look at him; he's one of those guys. He passes the eye test. He has the measurables. He has the upside and things like that. The defensive upside is there. Yeah, we have questions about the shooting and things like that, but the defensive upside is really good. So he's one of those guys that projects the kind of trend up over the course of time. So I'm not surprised by that because he's probably going to take him some time, right, to get adjusted in the league. But yeah, Swain is one. We'll see what happens, but he's an interesting prospect to monitor.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is.
Yeah, he's Herbert Jones to me.
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see that. Terrific defensive instincts as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would love that. Talking to DeMichael Cole, he joins us on Mondays through the draft to talk all things Grizzlies. Getting away from the Grizzlies just a little bit, this NBA Finals has been really, really fun through 2 games. Game 3 here in just a couple of hours. But what have you made of what you've seen through 2 games?
It's been it's been a nice series, right? I feel like even though, the home team lost both games, it's still been very competitive basketball through and through. I mean, going down to, a couple mistakes is what we've been talking about, especially in Game 2, but it was that way in Game 1 for the most part as well. I only thing I don't like is the Eastern Conference peepers, and this is the big bad mighty Western Conference that everyone was talking about. It's like, man, please, there were teams. Every team that the Knicks had played wouldn't make it out of the first round the way the West was set up this year. I don't think
That's true.
Before the Spurs, none of those teams. Cleveland would have been a first round exit, and every other team they've beaten on the way to this. But so the whole this is the big bad Western Conference thing, it annoys me a little bit. But man, terrific series so far. I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I really don't, guys. I guess we'll see the time we're talking next week. But I do think that they could potentially get one of these games in here. Maybe it's the typical 3-0 series lead game, and a team lets the foot up off the glass a little bit and they take advantage. But look, San Antonio's been involved in these games. There's been some young mistakes, which probably was bound to happen at this team at some point. I guess better now than it be in the first, second round, or whatever the case may be. But look, man, they're on the wrong side of history right now. You don't lose your first 2 games at home and get a happy ending that often. So we'll see what happens.
DeMichael, I'm not picky. I don't need anything at midcourt. Just 2 free throw line extended. You got them for tonight at the Garden? You got any extra?
Oh, man. I'm telling you.
Do you know anybody that's not working and just normal person going tonight?
No, I don't. I really don't. And, I mean, I can't. The nosebleed seats going for the prices that they're going, I can't imagine telling myself I'm willing to pay that much money just to be in the building.
Well, I've won the Powerball if I have.
I mean, goodness, man.
I don't even know I could do that then.
No chance.
No. No.
Huh.
Better things I can do. I'll watch it. My TV, I'd get the biggest flat screen they got. I'd put that up with my Powerball winnings, and the TV broadcast would be much better than just the game.
And tell all my friends I went.
Sure, yeah, I can lie. I can certainly sell a lie. DeMichael, you wrote over at the Commercial Appeal about some takeaways for the Grizzlies with what we've seen in really the NBA playoffs and the NBA Finals, and one of them that really jumped out to me was youth can win, and kind of pointing to not only the San Antonio Spurs, but also the Oklahoma City Thunder of, they invested in the draft, bringing in young guys, getting the draft right, and then going out there, making some other, picking up some other pieces. But you see that jump pretty quickly from we're tanking, we're going to build through the draft, to now you're in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, repeat that last part you said.
How you went from, in just a matter of 3 or 4 years, you're tanking, and then now you're in the NBA Finals.
It can happen.
Yeah, that's the dream. That's everyone with the new CBA. The quick turnaround is going to be the best way to build a sustained winner. Emphasis on sustained. Like, let's talk about the Knicks, for example. The Knicks have done something where you can build a team that's going to win a championship, but the Knicks are not a sustained team because they're not going to be able to keep all these guys. And the way that, look, Jalen Brunson did something that rarely ever happens. He took a hometown discount because he wanted to keep playing with his boys. How many times have we seen stars do that in the league? Not often.
Very often.
It's very rare. So I think what we're going to see is teams are going to look at what San Antonio did. Teams are going to look at what OKC did. And the Grizzlies are in position to do this. That's why I said the Grizzlies need to kind of focus in on the idea of let's try to fast-track this process and put ourselves in the championship position before everyone gets to their second contract. Because at that point, the training wheels are off, right? There's no more honeymoon phase. Think about it. When Ja and the boys lost in the second round against Golden State, it was tough. But it was like, they'll be back many more years to come. But then Ja got paid that summer. Then the next summer, Desmond Bane gets his big contract. And then at that point, it's like, oh, snap. We're paying 3 dudes this much money. Jaren's got another contract coming as well. And once you get to that point, then you have to know. You have to know, can we win a championship with this group or not? The Grizzlies said no. Desmond Bane was traded. Then Jaren was traded. And Ja is on the trade block. So that's how it goes now with the way the CBA is set up.
Yeah, well, it's obviously going to be a busy next couple of weeks for the draft, and then we'll see what the Grizzlies do with the rest of that roster afterwards. But, DeMichael, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your week, and we'll do it again next Monday.
All right, take care, guys.
Thanks, DeMichael. DeMichael Cole joining us from the Commercial Appeal. Make sure you go check out all of his work over there. He's got great stuff, a lot of great stuff about the draft, which we're counting down the days now, only a couple of weeks until draft day.
I have no problem at all with Acuff being the point guard, quarterback, face of the franchise going forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, he
or big piece.
Sure.
I don't know if he'd be the face.
Sure.
I think that could be Edey, could be Coward, could be others.
Edey's got to get on the floor to be the face, and
he does.
That has yet to happen. But no, I mean,
best ability.
It's availability. That's no doubt. But yeah, I mean, I think Acuff would certainly, and we've talked about it. Especially back when the Grizzlies were, around that 6th spot before the lottery of. Acuff would be a really nice piece to add. I think he would be super productive. You could start, adding him to the court to build around. And what wouldn't hurt is I think you would. It might not be enough to really go out and sell it, but I'm sure you'd get some people that would come in and sell a couple extra tickets by having, former Arkansas Razorback Darius Acuff on the court. No, it certainly wouldn't. So, I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with any of those point guards. If you told me that, hey, the Grizzlies have decided that they either want to jump up and draft one of those point guards or take one of those guys to kind of be that point guard of the future, I'd be fine with it. I think there are so many good options with all three of these spots that the Grizzlies have.
I don't know that I want to be the person to make this case, but I think it can be made, and I want somebody else to do it, and I'll be, go get them. Acuff, the right-handed Brunson.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can make it. I certainly think you can make it. I mean, the very small guys and very dynamic players. So yeah, I don't hate that.
Small in height, but big bodied, tough.
No, I don't mind it. And you're gonna see.
You make it, and I'll support you. I promise.
I don't know if I'm gonna make that case, but I think because of what Jalen Brunson has done, certainly if he leads the Knicks to the NBA Finals win and he's the MVP of the Finals, that's going to be the new thing with small guards. It's going to be, he's going to be the next Jalen Brunson, and and even DeMichael, and he put it extremely well in his story. But talking about these takeaways from the NBA Finals, he said small guards can win, and Brunson is showing that you can have a small guard. Now you have to play a certain type of way to be a small guard and have a lot of success. You have to know how to use your body, and certainly Darius Acuff
and stay out there.
Stay
healthy.
Exactly.
DeMichael made a great point about the CBA and while we're kind of everybody's trading being champion, and I thought this was going to be the wheelhouse years for the Grizzlies, but it came undone, and we're starting over. Okay, I'm there. I was ready for it to start over. I was ready for it to start over a year ago, but it makes it better instead of just having that one or two monoliths.
Yeah, no, it is. We've talked a lot about it, over these last couple of weeks of all the different champions over the last, 8 years of a new champion. And, not even just a new champion, but, kind of new blood in the NBA Finals, in the conference finals. You're seeing a lot of different teams go in and really do that. Now, for people like the Grizzlies or other teams down here, picking at the top of the draft, that's great. You love to look up there and say, hey, man, this CBA is turning around where anybody can win.
You got to have hope.
Man, those top teams, it can kind of be a little scary. Man, look at all this new blood. It's kind of hard to build that dynasty and really remain at the top. So
I go to Jokic. I go to Milwaukee with Giannis.
Yeah.
Just one. I take the one. I take the one. But we did all that for just one.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right, because right now you absolutely take one. But once you get there, one's not enough. I mean, look at Oklahoma City. Just 1 year after winning the first one, it's, hey, man, why are we not back in there in the NBA Finals? So
they're hurting. They're miserable.
They are. They absolutely are. And so, and for I think good reason. I mean,
they could be saying, well, at minimum we could be down 0-2.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Oklahoma City was the best team in the NBA this year, and just couldn't get it done in the Western Conference Finals. So it's going to be fun tonight with Game 3. We'll talk a little bit more about it in our next segment. But before we get to this next break, I got to remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsor. It's Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet. The Dobbs family, an old established name, is back in the car business in Memphis. Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet, located at 7850 Highway 64 in Bartlett, offering a full selection of new Chevrolets and quality used cars to meet every need and budget. Head out there and check out the beautiful new vehicles like the 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500. With its Turbo Max engine, off-road capability, and advanced technology on the interior. If you head out there and check out this beautiful model, you can get 2.9% APR for 72 months. But while you're out there, check out the other models like the 2026 Chevy Traverse or the 2026 Chevy Equinox, a redesigned, rugged meets modern vehicle with a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder gas engine. At Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet, it's fully transparent pricing, no hidden fees, no games, and they cover all your needs with their service department. Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet welcomes you to a new way of providing excellent customer service. They're a great team. They're ready to find that perfect vehicle that fits your needs. Head out to Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet in Bartlett at 7850 Highway 64, open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can go online and view those vehicles at DobbsBrothersChevy.com, but head out there and test drive those vehicles today at Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet in Bartlett. Well, let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Whether you're buying, selling, or just want a fast cash offer, call Bubba Sandifer at Emmett Baird Realty at 901-257-9420 or direct at 901-319-0747. Looking to buy? Bubba will help you find that perfect home. Thinking about selling? Don't just stick a sign in your yard and hope for the best. With Bubba Sandifer at Emmett Baird Realty, you get maximum exposure, serious buyers, and real results. Want speed? He'll buy it as is for cash. Want top dollar? He'll list it. Either way, you win. Call Bubba Sandifer at 901-319-0747.
Listen up, Rebel fans. Your next winning drive starts at Landers Ford in Collierville. Their game plan is simple. Find you the most savings possible. Make a trade, lower your payments, or let them buy your vehicle even if you don't buy from them. That's how you keep moving the chains. Just like the Grove on game day. Fans all across the Mid-South keep coming back to the #1 Ford dealership in Greater Memphis. See them today in Collierville or online at LandersFordMemphis.com. When you own a Landers Ford, you get the support of a certified service tech with the Landers Ford Remote Service Experience Program. They pick it up, drop it off, or fix it on the spot, so you're never left watching from the sidelines. To finish the drive, the iconic Landers Easy Pass always brings more for your trade and the biggest discounts to put you in victory formation. And now, straight from the 1977 Ole Miss football team that took down #1 ranked Notre Dame, the final snap of the day from Landers Ford President Don Kitchens.
If it doesn't say Landers, you've paid too much.
As reported on Ford's 2024 total new vehicle retail sales report in Memphis market.
Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis has serious vans for serious work. At 4430 American Way, they are the Mid-South source for cargo, passenger, crew vans, and custom chassis. Need one or a full fleet? New or used, they've got it with fleet solutions and custom upfits. Certified techs keep you moving with fast maintenance, repairs, and a large parts inventory. Mercedes-Benz Van Center is your Sprinter Van headquarters, 901-237-9302 or sprintervans.com. Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis, part of the Tag Truck Center family, driven to keep you on the road.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. I wanted to take a minute and discuss advertising with you. There are so many websites that list the best service provider in your area. Even the BBB has an accredited list. You know the one thing they all have in common? A company like mine has to pay to get on that list. So that begs the question, can those lists be trusted? You know what can be trusted? History. We've been around for almost 30 years providing customers with the best service and the best products that we possibly can. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call. We'll come talk to you and let you decide for yourself whether or not we know what we're talking about. Fiveash Roof Services. Best products, best warranties, and in many cases, the best price. We're fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Memphis, your Saturday mornings are about to get a little spicier. Get heaping helpings of SEC sports with the Back Porch right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM starting at 10 a.m. Back Porch features experts interviewing big-name guests, discussing big-time topics, and chopping up all things Southeastern Conference. You'll get plenty of facts, opinions, and perspective, all of it about the SEC. The Back Porch, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A little bit more volume in the last few minutes trying to get through certain parts of the Midtown area, especially I-40 here up by Chelsea. We have watched it build a little bit more in the last few minutes. 40 east as you pass Watkins there, passing the 101 connector, headed over towards Warford and Hollywood. It's heavier than it was 15-20 minutes ago on 240 on the Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. Reported some traffic lights are out over in parts of Germantown this afternoon. Hey, don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck having transmission problems. Come to Amco Transmissions, 2 locations to serve you right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet at 7450 Highway 64 in Bartlett. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Come with me now. Come with me now.
Welcome back in to Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we've got about 30 minutes left in today's show. We're counting down to Game 3 tonight of the NBA Finals. We'll talk a little basketball here in a second. I want to get to more NBA Finals and some Grizzlies rumors, reports that have come out today. But it is official. The NCAA has officially filed a notice of appeal in the Brendan Swearsby case. So we will see, and it's being described as an accelerated appeal. So my question to David Cobb a little more than an hour ago of how long until we get new news. I don't know how much accelerated it will be, but it seems like NCAA working fast to appeal this.
Brian, I ask this as innocently or naively as I possibly can. How good is he?
I mean, I think he's a really good quarterback. I think Texas Tech is a lot better with him than without him. I mean, we did our college football playoff predictions. I think that if he's on the field for Texas Tech, they're a playoff team. I think
I had BYU in.
Yeah.
Instead of Texas Tech as Big 12 rep, but if he's in when we do the one that matters, I'm going to have him in.
And that's exactly right. Way early in the process, when we did our first one, our second one, I can't even remember when all this came out and where we were. I had Texas Tech in. After he was all this came out, I had them out, and so I think that he is good enough to make them a college football playoff team when he's on the field, and when he's not on the field, I think he makes them to where they're not probably a college football playoff team.
Yeah, and we know they paid him a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and they felt like he was the last piece to a great puzzle that they have there with everything else they've been able to acquire.
Yeah, something tells me NIL helped his gambling addiction a whole lot more than anything else. I mean, you got all that money coming in. It makes it a lot easier to make these bets, I guess. So, good for him. Or I guess not good for him, however this plays out.
Shouldn't the IRS come knocking at some point?
Yeah, I mean,
You think they got their cut and all the paperwork's all slicked up?
I mean, I would hope that when we now get into all this NIL money and stuff, that the schools are on top of that, making sure that everybody fills out their taxes the way that they need to be filled out. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've talked about, and it's something that I was thinking about earlier when we were kind of talking about how he hadn't bet on his team, all of that stuff, and I was kind of wondering, he says he hasn't bet on his team. How do we know that? But these sports books, they have all that information, and so they know that he didn't bet against his team. They know when he started gambling under his parents' name or whatever it might had been. I would assume that information has gotten to whoever it needs to get to, and they have been able to cross-check it and make sure that there was no funny business going on. Because here's the thing. I mean, I'm sure it started off when he's a walk-on or the red shirt at Indiana. He's probably only betting a couple bucks here and there. When he gets to Cincinnati, he's making all this NIL money, and he's the starting quarterback.
That's how it always starts.
Then he's making a lot bigger money bets, and so I'm sure it all checks out of, okay, this is when he started getting NIL money, then he quadrupled his amount of money that he's making on bets. I'm sure it all checked out. I would be really shocked if it comes out that there's any sort of there to that.
If you're mad at me, I take my apology up front, but I'm going to pull the curtain back. I texted you during the last segment when we were talking about Cameron Carr.
Yeah.
Is how did the Tigers beat them that day and control the entire game? Remember, a lot of that game, Baylor could not get in their stuff.
Yeah.
They couldn't, in the half court, run an effective offense against a team that ultimately went on and lost 19 games.
Yeah.
I looked at the box score. Great Bradshaw game that day and a couple others that were inconsistent. I'm not saying this is entirely – I'm not alleging anything gambling around Baylor. I am saying this. I think there's a lot of locker room issues out there with teams and players because of the money, because of the legitimate legal money. I think it has locker room disruption written all over it. I know of an SEC team that was real good last year that a person told me, he said, all those injuries late in the year, that wasn't injuries.
Sure.
That was holding out. I need more money.
Yeah, so I mean,
I don't play.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think there's probably a lot of that going on around the country. You know, I don't know if that's exactly what was happening at BYU, but I'm sure it was a little bit there. You know, I mean, it was just bizarre the way that the season played out for Baylor, all the way from, you know, the before the start of the season, the transfer portal, when Rob Wright decides that he wants to leave, kind of gives them late notice that he's going to enter the transfer portal, and goes to he goes to BYU, and then, you know, they come into the season. They've got Cameron Carr, who turns out, you know, he's going to be a top 15 pick. They've got the other player that took his name out and is now going to St. John's. You know, they end up, this was after the Memphis game, but they had the center, James Najee, that had already been in the draft once. So, you know, it was weird. You know, when they played Memphis, they didn't really have a center on the roster. Did they really have a point guard on the roster? I mean, for a coach that I have immense respect for, Scott Drew. I think he's a
top 10
great
coach.
Yeah, absolutely. A great coach. I don't know what happened last year because the roster was not good. It was not a full roster.
Penny got the best of him that day.
He did. It was weird all around for Baylor last season.
Whew. It is it's something out there in college sports, isn't it?
Oh, no doubt, and that happens, and so it was. But
and
it was weird
we
to
just
play
know
out.
the tip of the iceberg.
Oh yeah, no, that's right, and that's the thing. It's like we can assume or we can guess, but it's hard to a lot of times keep it behind closed doors, but. What is behind closed doors is what kept
and
it
that's
crazy.
If you're going along well and winning. We know that helps. That's the best chemistry.
Yeah.
But this particular SEC basketball team I'm talking about, they were winning. And just, hey, I need more.
Yeah.
I got a quad that's tight.
Yeah, it's weird because you've got two completely different ends where, if the team is not very good, then you've got guys that are probably going to say, I don't want to play. I'm going to enter the transfer portal. I need X amount of money if I'm going to play. This team's awful, yada, yada, yada. But then if you're too good, then it's like, hey, I need more. Because I didn't get enough for what I'm bringing to the table. So it makes it very, very weird now in all of college athletics. And
boy, the think pieces on the sustainability.
Yeah.
They'll be written this week, won't they?
No, they definitely will. And, I'll be curious. We had a texter earlier and didn't have time when it came in to read it. But, what these type of stories do to college football fans or college sports fans. This texter texted in and said, that this is kind of the breaking point for him with Brendan Sorsby, and that he's kind of over it now with college sports. And so I think, the constant going to court and having courts play such a big role, and we talked about with David Cobb, having these courts play such a big role, and anytime you don't get the answer you like, running to a court and trying to get a cozy judge. I mean, I do think that has an effect on people of, hey, let's just go out there and play ball. I mean, we don't need all this extra stuff.
Give me those Grizzlies trade rumors.
So some rumors out there today. It's not necessarily really trade rumors per se, more of what it is of kind of the next, what they'll do in the draft, the next move they'll make. Brett Siegel, who reports for ClutchPoints.com. Now, you can take his word, you can't take his word. I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt, I guess. This is what he said today. He put out a story. It says, we have a new mock draft at Clutch Points with all the latest intel and talk around the league you need to know. Bulls and Thunder attempting to trade up, the ongoing DeBonza versus Peterson debate at number 1, and much more. And this is what it says about the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies should be thrilled to draft Boozer as the face of their franchise moving forward. And while they have been very tight-lipped as an organization since the lottery, rival teams that have been in contact with Memphis claim the number 3 pick is off limits. The same cannot be said about the Grizzlies' number 16 pick, which sources say GM Zach Kleiman is attempting to package with other assets to make a move up in the draft, possibly securing another top 10 pick. So at least Brett Siegel from Clutch Points reporting that the Grizzlies are active with that 16 pick and trying to package it to move up to possibly the top 10, where again, you get back into that conversation of some of these guards and maybe being able to go get Boozer and one of these top 4 point guards.
You remember when a couple Fridays ago when we were doing a lively round of high hard ones, and we talked to the natural path in wins, and I think we were all around 35, 33, 30, and about a 5-game improvement over the next 3 years. If somehow draft night the Grizzlies come out of all this with Boozer and Darius Acuff, I start flying the stay healthy Zach Edey flag and squeeze into the playoffs next year.
Holy cow. Okay. I'll be excited. I don't know if I will match your excitement with that, but yeah, I mean, it would be huge, and it would certainly give the fan base a lot of excitement and kind of hope for the future of maybe this will be a quicker turnaround. If you can lock in your starting point guard and your starting power forward, and then say that, hey, Zach Edey's going to be healthy, and you've got Cedric Coward and these other pieces that now you can grow with. Not only can you kind of hope and dream that maybe this year, maybe next year we're back in the playoffs, but that will be a fun core to game in, game out, that 82-game stretch, no matter how good or bad they are. That will be fun. Let's watch these guys grow together. Let's start seeing this team start to take form in front of our eyes. So it'd be huge.
Right, real quick before we get to the break and get back with Mo's Crunch Time, to that texture about kind of a breaking point, tipping point for them at this point with college football. First, I'm very sorry you feel that way, and I'm not going to at all try to tell anybody how they should feel, other than we have to for this, we have to keep interest in all of it, and anything damaged ultimately would damage us. So I don't want that, and I also don't want it because I have always so loved it. I think when we get to the games in the fall, that's always the fix. I'm not telling that it makes that person feel any better, and I'm not trying to tell them how they should feel. But I just think when we get to the games, it kind of always corrects it. If that doesn't do it, then I'll join them in being concerned.
Yeah, well, and I think we mentioned this earlier when we were talking about it with David. I am glad that this is at least, beginning of June, and we're talking about now the NCAA in a position to appeal the ruling so early, so that my hope is by the time we get to media days and we're doing Big 12 Media Day, this is all behind us. We have an official ruling. We know he's either going to be on the field, he's going to be off the field, and we can kind of move into the season with this not being the big story going into week 3 of Brendan Sorsby's back for game 3 against Houston. He's taking the field. Hopefully this, gets made right, and it doesn't have to be an issue.
You know what the first question is going to be to everybody at Big 12 Media Days? Will y'all play Texas Tech, or will you sit out?
Yeah, and that will, a lot will play out. Because, here's the thing, that's only if he's on the field, right? Our team's still going to have that opinion if he's ruled out of the principle of Texas Tech is trying so hard to get him on the court, because that's, I think, part of it, but, if he's not on the field. So it definitely will be, no matter what happens from now to Big 12 Media Days, the biggest story will be Brendan Sorsby. No matter if they come out tomorrow and say he's ineligible and everything, it's going to be headline number 1 around Big 12 Media Days. Well, let's go ahead, get to our final break of the day, and when we return, we'll wrap up today's show with Mo's Crunch Time.
Download our Hub 901 app for instant access to Sports 56 and all the Flynn broadcasting stations from anywhere. Go to the App Store and get the Hub 901 app today.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Witten Road.
Old Dominick Distillery is pouring Memphis pride into every cocktail. From the winning atmosphere at its downtown Memphis distillery to award-winning craft spirits, Old Dominick is pure Memphis spirit through and through. Swing by the distillery bar for a pregame cocktail or celebrate your wins with a guided tour and tasting. Old Dominick Distillery. Come for the spirits, stay for the experience. Cheers to Memphis. Learn more at olddominick.com.
To NST, it's never just another case. It's your shot at getting life back on track. Real help, real heart. 35 years and still winning. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or go online at nstlaw.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet, 7450 Highway 64 in Bartlett. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This game has always been called the world's greatest cocktail party. Do you know what is going to happen here tonight?
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Crunch time between the hedges.
The ball game is over, and Memphis has its first win in 16 tries. Its first win ever against its fierce in-state rival, Tennessee.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need a crunchy bite to eat? Head to Moe's for nachos, crunch wraps, tacos, salads, and more. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies. And today is National Best Friends Day, so make sure you head out to Moe's. Buy one, get one entree. So grab your best friend, head out there to Moe's. I can already assure you, if you go there in the next 30-45 minutes, you will run into me, because that's where I'm going for dinner tonight to take advantage of that deal. So make sure you take advantage of that deal today. But Brett, what I learned today, I didn't really learn it today. I learned it over the weekend, and as you can see, I'm rocking a Memphis Hound Dogs hat. I went to the first Hound Dogs home game.
Yes.
Let me tell you something, Brett. I had a blast. It was awesome. Now, I, for one, have been somebody that all my life have been fascinated with arena football. And I don't know why, but I've been fascinated with arena football. So the opportunity to go to an arena football game was a must. I went. Now, look, there are some things that I would like to see improved. I would like to see steps taken into improvement. But for game one, it was a blast. The product was great. A big win for the Hound Dogs. Now they are sitting in a tie atop the division that they are in. And I got to tell you, I mean, the tickets were pretty cheap. The concessions were pretty cheap. It was a good time. No, because this league is different. You do the throw-offs instead of kickoffs, which is interesting, and then you have to go for either a 1-point conversion or a 2-point conversion after touchdowns. I had a good time. It was fun, and I'm planning on being. They're on the road this weekend. I'm planning on being back for the second home game of the season.
1-0. Who do we play this week?
1-1 right now,
1-1.
Brett. 1-1. They lost the road opener, but they won the home opener this weekend. I don't remember who they're playing. I think they're playing the Lunkers, maybe. I think the Ozark Lunkers are the opponent this week.
Where are they out of?
They're out of Springfield.
Springfield Mo?
Mo, that's right. Yes, right up.
Not Springfield, Illinois.
No, not Springfield, Illinois. Springfield,
Springfield Mo's Ozark. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm excited.
1-1. I'm glad you had fun.
How about that? Oh, it was a blast.
What I learned, NBA Finals with the number one TV market in the country, New York, and a great brand in San Antonio, 17 million, peaked at 19. Sugar Bowl with Georgia and Ole Miss, 19 million, peaked at 21. NBA Finals against a quarterfinal college football playoff game, and college football won it.
Yeah.
I just don't think people realize it.
No, I don't. I mean, we talked about it earlier. I think if you go and you ask people on the streets, certainly on the streets of New York, I think they would absolutely laugh at you. Well, what I could have done without this news actually coming out just a couple of hours ago while we've been on the air, but it's being reported that Kentucky redshirt freshman football player Nick Smith has passed away. He was found deceased earlier today around 9 or 10 o'clock this morning. He redshirted this past season at Kentucky, and so just really horrific news coming out of Lexington. Certainly our thoughts and prayers going to his family, that team, that community up there in Lexington, because you never want to see a story like this. And unfortunately, it feels like we see this story about once every year, whether it's football, basketball, some sort of player, whether it be an accident. In this, they said foul play not involved, but kind of very weird. It sounds like he was on campus in the residential hall, and they called paramedics to come. So not sure exactly what happened, but no matter what happened, a really tragic scene and tragic news up in Lexington.
I'm looking forward to seeing could do without this, but let's see if Coach Nick Saban changes his anti-Ole Miss sermon to anti-Brendan Sorsby in Texas Tech. Never mind the injury, and Trinidad Chambliss has only played 3 years of college football. Sorsby did the once unthinkable, and now it looks like he's going to be on the field. I want to hear all the outrage about that I heard during sworn testimony last week in Washington in front of Congress from Coach Nick Saban.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. I think the Sorsby and the Bediako case are the ones to really, really rail against. It's certainly a weird spot that we're in when you're going to the courts, and a lot of times it can look like all of these situations are the exact same. But no matter what you think about the case with Trinidad Chambliss, the one thing that's different about these two cases and that one is that there are rules in the rule book that clearly say you cannot do X or Y, and they did X and Y and still tried to play afterwards. Yeah, exactly. So it makes no sense. Where are you beaming tonight?
Only one place to be, New York City, at the Garden tonight, and Citi Field tomorrow night.
Yeah,
you could go to the Cardinal game tomorrow and then back to the NBA Finals on Wednesday night. What would that cost?
Now, here's my question, Brett. Does the beaming machine get you through the TSA-style checkpoint for the
beaming
Garden?
machine takes you next to the seat by Spike.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. But, yes, I think you got to beam.
It's like the great odds.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Beam me to that game tonight. But how about this? After that game, the Athletics, Homeless Athletics, they're going to their future home tonight in Las Vegas against the Brewers. That'll be a lot of fun to watch.
It will be. Yankees at Cleveland will be fun, but let's see if Wemby can be dominant tonight.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question. All eyes on MSG later tonight. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll talk to you again.